what I appreciate is all of you just being on point today.
All right. Let's get ready to roll. Hey, by the way, do me a quick favor if you haven't done so already. Change your screen name to the office that you're in dash first name and last initial. So that way I can kind of keep track and tabs on everybody here. Because some people, so you all I've met and you're not in my office, but you all I've never even met before. So I'm excited. I will definitely get a chance to know you a lot better over the next couple weeks. But go ahead and change your screen name to the office that you're in, first name and last initial. So thank you, Alyssa. We'll go to Diamond Stout, and then we'll go to, I believe, Asia McNeil. What's hot? What do you appreciate?
What I appreciate are the recommendations I've been getting from my customers. They help a lot.
Yep. And what's hot?
What's hot? For Rex too.
All right, let's go. Asia, what's hot? What do you appreciate? And then we'll go to Yasmin.
What's hot is I'm excited for the alliance, and I appreciate Taylor informing me of this alliance.
All right, let's go to my name is it Yasmin or Yasmin?
Jasmine.
Yasmin. Okay, perfect. Or is it Jasmine? Just Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Jasmine, take us away, and then we'll go to Logan.
So for what's hot, I'm excited for the speakers, and I appreciate all of my customers that have taken the time to listen to my presentations.
Awesome. Let's go to Logan, and then we will go to Susan in Miami.
So what's hot? I'm pumped for the alliance and this SC2 push, and I appreciate all the connections and networking I made through the demos with like a bunch of parents and everything.
Awesome. Let's go to Susan, and then we will go to Juliana.
What's hot? Definitely the push, and what I appreciate is this alliance.
All right, Juliana, and then Yandri.
What's hot is I'm selling at flat 50 for SC2. And what do I appreciate is SC2 Alliance. It's literally the best thing ever. It's going to be the best thing ever.
All right, Yandri, and then we'll go to Brian in Miami.
All right, so what's hot? Getting started already with the alliance, feeling hot, and what I appreciate is everyone on the call being sharp.
All right, Brian, and then Aiden.
Well, what's hot is definitely the start of the alliance. It's my first one, so I'm very looking forward to it, very excited. What I'm appreciative of is meeting a lot of amazing individuals in the team. Also, just the chance that Jonathan gave me to actually be part of the alliance. And also is you, Mr. Andrew.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Let's go to Aiden, and then we'll go to Anessa.
What's hot is pretty much the alliance and the guest speakers happening. And I appreciate all the recs I've been getting and the knowledge I've been giving me about Cutco.
Awesome. Let's go to Nessa, and then we'll go to Van Troy.
It's Anissa, but what's hot is what's hot is everything that we're about to learn being a part of the alliance. And what I'm appreciative of is the community that Cutco has made and allowing this opportunity for everybody.
Awesome. Let's go to Van Troy, and then we will go to Chloe.
So what's hot is this SC2 push that's about to happen. And then what I do appreciate is all these guest speakers are going to be here for the next 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Chloe, and then we'll go to Hunter.
What's hot is SC2, getting to connect with more reps and get a little influence there. Who do I appreciate? Andrew, for a whole bunch of great little things he has set up with the SC2 and the time he put in for it. So
awesome. I'm appreciative of you all. Let's go to Hunter, and then I might mess this. Is it Ayana?
It's Ayana.
Ayana. Perfect. All right, Hunter, and then Ayana.
So what's hot is I had my first 2 sales this past week. Really excited about that. And something I appreciate is all my customers bearing with me in all the little technical difficulties I've had with some of my presentations, as well as Taylor for bearing with me throughout this summer.
All right, let's go to Ayana, and then we'll go to Christine.
Okay, so what's hot is this alliance, and what I appreciate is Mr. Evans taking the time to do this for us.
All right, let's go to Christine, and then we'll go to Ariel.
Okay, what's hot is that I had won some amazing things that I have been really wanting to shoot for to win. And I also appreciate my manager's time and also all the recs I got from some great customers.
Awesome. All right, now we'll go to Christine, and then we'll go to Marcus.
What's hot is just getting to be here this morning and to learn the experiences and going into the push period.
Awesome. All right. And then Marcus.
What's hot is I had my first sale yesterday in the Alliance, and also I just really appreciate the information that y'all give. So much information.
All right. And then Jonathan, you want to take us home? Did I miss anyone else? Taylor, you can take us home.
Did
Yeah,
you?
Justin, what's hot? What you appreciate?
Oh, okay, cool. What's hot is not the Alliance. No, I'm just kidding. So many people said that, but definitely the Alliance SC2 push. I mean, it's always fun, especially like with Metro Miami, and it's gonna be a blast. What do I what do I appreciate? I appreciate everybody here. You know, everyone who was on time, everyone who made it, and everyone who's like committed to their goals as well. I also appreciate you back, Brian. Thank you for that.
All right, Taylor, you can take us home. What's that? What you appreciate?
So what is hot is just preparing for the Alliance. So before it starts, everything is all nice and ready and everyone's going to be super successful. And then what I appreciate is all of the finals who decided to choose to be on the Alliance.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gents, without further ado, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and kick things off, and I'll tell you, by the way, if I mess up anyone's names, I might mess it up like once or twice more, but I will have it within the next day or two, and I'll be seeing you all almost every morning, so I'll definitely get it at one point or another. Look, I want to be able to kick things off here for this morning, and so first thing I'm going to recommend that you do, if you haven't done so already, is just be in a place where you can be 100% engaged for the meeting today. And, you know, when I talk about people that are 100% engaged, I often reference three things that, you know, I'm looking for, and three things that realistically you kind of want to be doing if you are going to be 100% engaged in the meeting today. And so let me actually adjust this real quickly. If it's a meeting that I'm running, you've probably seen these slides before at one point or another. And so first thing I would write down in your notes, three things to put down. Leaders that are 100% engaged. Number one, they seek best practices. And that's really what you're doing being here as part of the Alliance today, is hopefully you're seeking the best practices. There are certain people in the team that are going to try to find the easiest way to do something. They will try to find the most comfortable way of doing something. But you as an Alliance member, you know, and as you're going to this meeting today, it's like, hey, are you looking for the best way to do things? Not the way to get by, not the way that like, hey, kind of sort of gets the job done, but what gets the truly best results, is the most efficient and is going to help you support your business for the most long-term process. Second thing is, are you hungry for growth? You know, you can tell who's hungry for growth based off of who's taking notes. And if you're accepted into this group, this is a different group. You know, I'm going to hold this group to a different level of standards. There's a lot of different, you know, teams and offices you can be on. And you can always be a rep, by the way. You know, so there are opportunities to be on lower level teams, but this team is the higher level team. This is the A player team. And, you know, we're going to hold you all to the standards of A players. So just making sure that you're really taking in a lot of notes today. This meeting, if you do it right, will set up the next 3 weeks of your life. And the next 3 weeks of your life, if you do it right, will set up the next couple of years of your life. And so make sure you're really being hungry for growth in this meeting. The last thing is, can you gain personal clarity? You know, maybe today for you is just about how to sell some more Cutco, maybe make some more income, but it's about a lot more than that. It's a lot about offering yourself the opportunity to develop yourself into the person that you're really meant on this earth to become. And that's what, in my opinion, the Alliance is all about. So make sure as we're going to today, you're seeking best practices, hungry for growth, and gain some personal clarity. And with that said, we will go ahead and kick things off here officially. So I want to welcome our SC2 Gunners, whether you are in my office in Metro Miami and we'll work closely with each other, or you are in Fayetteville, or you are in the Panama City Beach office, or whatever office you're in. We just want to welcome you guys. We're really, really excited to have you all here. And I'm really, really excited. I'll tell you what, like, you know, you see a lot of the managers that have gone through an SC2 get a lot of excitement during this time period. And sometimes if it's your first SC2, you don't even really know why everyone's getting excited. You just know everyone's excited. And it's easier for people like a Juliana. I'm looking at Yandri, you know, Alyssa, like Alex, all these people were part of our Alliance, you know, last year. So, I mean, holy Jesus, it's been an entire year since that meeting. This time last year, I'm looking at Alyssa like, man, what can change in the power of 1 year? And by the way, there's a lot of people are on this call that started off as representatives. Like Juliana had just started the job a week ago last year, and was just kind of a person that, kind of sort of made her way, straggled onto the alliance because she was really, really interested and expressed a lot of desire, made her way on it. And fast forward 1 year, she's wrapping up running her own branch office for the summertime, and is now part of Alliance Round 2. So it's really, really exciting to have this time of the year. And there's a reason that all the managers get excited so much. So, and part of it, by the way, is it's not always the sales performance that we get excited about. But trust me, managers do get excited that all of our offices are about to sell and ship a whole lot more than we do on a weekly basis. But keep in mind, like there's certain offices, some of you all actually aren't even in my division. Like if you're in Fayetteville, you all work really closely with me for the next couple of weeks, and then you'll probably work even closer with your division manager, Larry Manley. What I really get the most excited about is not just the sales that come, not just the improvements, not just the breakthroughs that happen, but it's really the personal development aspect of the push that becomes the most exciting. It's who you become through the process of really pushing yourself and being a part of an elite group. That's really the most exciting. And quite frankly, that's what's going to stick with you the longest. That will always be what sticks with you the longest. And so, being a part of an alliance, of the alliance, is a choice, right? It's a choice and decision on your end. And by the way, it's also a choice and decision on your manager's end. Like I let all of our managers kind of have the discretion, but what's really important too is that I'll tell people I'd rather run this call for 4 or 5 people that are really committed than have 50 people on the call that don't really have their heads in the game. So, you get the most out of the alliance when your managers really pour into you, and they're going to pour into you more when you're more committed. So, the higher commitment level that you have, I think your managers will always match that. And being part of the alliance is an epic experience. It's only 2.5 weeks, by the way. Those 2.5 weeks will feel like 3 years, though. So it's like, hey, I went through this thing called 75 Hard, which I shared at the conference, and that was 75 days. That was 2.5 months. This is just 2.5 weeks of purposeful, intentional growth, intentional challenge, intentional discomfort. But by the time that you go through it, it will feel like it's been a couple of years because of how much growth and development you experience personally during that time period. So number one, Alliance is an exciting thing to be a part of just because it's a big money-making opportunity. And I know not a lot of you all, number one, are even money motivated. But I'll just tell you right now, there's a lot of people that are on this call that are on pace to graduate from college with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 saved, like not made, saved in their bank accounts when they graduate from college. While most students are going to graduate from college, with debt in their names. And so having that opportunity, to really make some moves, whether you actually you might either have like real legitimate expenses that like, I need to make money. And that usually is motivation in and of itself, right? Or you don't really need it. And if you don't really need it, it's even better because you can start to take that money and really invest it and save it. And one of the things that we'll teach you how to do if you get into TLA, accepted into our leadership academy, is how to do just that, how to do that process, how to not just make a lot of money, but how to actually save it, how to actually invest it, how to give it away, how to spend that money. And so, I'm a big believer that, money does not buy happiness, but if you gave everyone like money, most of their problems would go away. If everyone had enough money, most of their problems could be solved. And the reality is that most problems, most fights, most arguments somehow trickle back to there's not enough money, right? It's like kind of like when I remember like when I got in a car accident growing up, and I remember I got in a car accident growing up, and I remember like my dad, loved me. He probably was, more concerned that I was alive, and that was probably his number one priority. But once he figured out that I was alive, there was also I got, got some, some heat from him. And the reality is that probably how he would want to react is just like, God, you're safe. But the reality is that I just cost our family a lot of money because I just crashed our car. So there was a lot more argument and heat going on there. If we would have had more money, maybe there wouldn't have been much an argument. Maybe it would have just been like, oh, I'm glad you're safe, son. But the reality is that, money does change things and it affects people. So having more of that and being able to take 2.5 weeks on a money-making vacation to actually really separate yourself can be valuable. I think about advancement. If you want to, like a lot of you all realize this, and some of you are starting to catch on, but myself as the division manager, there's 2 weeks every year that I work this closely with representatives. It's right now during this push, so I have people that start this job all year round. Think about it this way. Like I'm looking at Jada. Jada sold, I don't know, maybe $20,000 over, the winter break. And probably, Jada, you've been on the job for a couple months. How many times do you think we sat down and spoke, like on a Zoom call, or you were on a Zoom call with me after the first couple months? Maybe like once? I don't know. After you've been working here for like 3 or 4 months, and already over, 20K in sales as top rep for the spring. And we talked like one time, so I'm going to see you all every morning for the next 2.5 weeks. And at the end of the day, whether it's myself or if you're in Fayetteville, with Larry Manley, your division manager really holds the key and is the gatekeeper on who gets into the alliance. And so if you're ever excited about getting into TLA, making a statement, this is how you do it. Not only do you get a taste of what TLA is like through being through this experience, but if you're excited about opening up any type of advancement opportunities, whether it's getting into TLA, whether it's making a name for yourself, whether it's opening up a branch or opportunity for yourself the following summer, maybe it's becoming an assistant manager. TLA is SC2 10K Alliance is the sure way to put yourself on the fast track, for advancement opportunities. I think about if you're experience driven, there's no other, look, when I say experience, there's always 2 types of experience. There's resume experience and then there's real experience, right? So the resume experience, obviously by being able to say that, hey, out of the, 100, 200, 300 people that worked in my office that summer, only 5, only 8, only 10 were selected for our alliance, for our elite alliance group. And I was one of those individuals. That's a big deal to be able to say you're a part of that group. And it looks good on your resume. But guys, here's what's the most important. It's not what's on your resume. It's what you can actually talk about that's on your resume. Always. Okay. The average employer looks at a resume for less than 3 seconds, which means we do this. Okay. All your resume means is, does something stand out? And then they're going to ask you questions and then you can have a conversation about that stuff. But the real experience is, do you actually have real experience tangibly that you can share with people? And it's not just the resume experience, it's the experience of who you become through this process. The whole entire push, the reason that you push, the reason that you join an alliance, because by the way, you can go out and sell 10 grand and we'll have people that will have 10K pushes and they're not a part of the alliance. It's a different experience though. Right? Because you can go out and sell a lot of Cutco and not necessarily be on the alliance. But the reason that you join the alliance, the reason that you become part of this elite group is really ultimately for the personal experience that you gain and develop as you put yourself through that process. When you push yourself, just like a rubber band is the analogy I always give people, you expand your capacity. And when you begin to push yourself and expand that capacity, that rubber band never goes back to the original size that it once was. And so, you're going to challenge yourself over the next couple of weeks, but guess what? In life, you're also going to have a lot of challenges and it gets tougher. Like people oftentimes think like life gets easier, life gets harder as you grow up. Life only gets harder. Okay. High school, like middle school is, really tough until you get to high school. High school is tough until you get to college. College is tough until you graduate and get out into the real world for a little bit. That's tough until you actually get married. That's tough until you actually have kids. Then it's having a job, kids, and managing all of that. It's like life gets harder as you get older, and you're going to only have more challenges that you're going to need to overcome as an individual. And by increasing your capacity, whether it's a challenge in school, whether it's a challenge in your family, whether it's, adversity that you've had, whether it's a loss of someone you love, all these things are things that will happen in our lives that are going to challenge ourselves. And, when you can put yourself willingly, purposely in front of challenges, it allows you to become someone that's more adaptable and better equipped to be able to handle those challenges when they arise in the future. You expand your capacity of what you're capable of. And that's really what the Alliance is all about. The Alliance is about having an opportunity to figure out who you are. And I would write that down. I would write down the alliance is an opportunity to figure out who you are or who I am, who you need to become, and then take the steps into actually becoming that person. So every year we typically have like a theme of the alliance. Last year, the theme was, who are you? Who are you? You know, a lot of times people will put themselves in like adrenaline junkies. Will put themselves into situations, you know, someone jumps out of an airplane, someone, you know, people will do things that make them feel alive, or push really, really hard. I think about, you know, Mike shared this even in the meeting earlier today. So if you don't know who David Goggins is, first off, we talked about the 40% rule, but this guy went through Navy SEAL training 3 times. Okay. And on 2 of the times, he broke like every bone in his legs. And by the way, the second time that he did it, so he finished Navy SEAL training with 2 broken legs. And that was like, he broke his legs like 2 days before training was over. So he was running a marathon on broken legs with weights on top of them. And then he did his Navy SEAL training again. And the second time he did it, he broke his legs like 2 days into it. So he literally spent the next week doing Navy SEAL training on 2 broken legs. You know, there's more story to come from that. He's just, if you look him up, like, and you want to get inspired a little bit, go look up the story of David Goggins. He's like ran a 100-mile marathon as well, like barefoot with like no nutrition, just like showed up to the race one day and ran. And then they had to put him in the hospital by the time that he finished. Just crazy, crazy things. But one of the things that he talks about is the 40% rule. And what he talks about is being able to push yourself and getting comfortable being uncomfortable. He talks about when you get to that breaking point, when you're pushing yourself, you get a chance to find out who you are and reconnect to the ambition that's inside of you. And so the theme of this year, okay, if you want to write this down, the theme of this year is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that it's a small idea, but if you can get comfortable being uncomfortable, I always think back to when I was in wrestling in high school. We had this one coach. His name was Coach T. He was like an all-American, you know, wrestler, world champ. And this guy was big. And he'd come into our wrestling practices every once in a while. You could barely even understand what he would be saying. He'd just be like shouting. And one of the things he always used to shout at us was like, you got to get more comfortable being uncomfortable. And he would shout that at us over and over and over again. And he's like, you got to get like over, like rat. That's like the only thing I ever heard out of this guy's mouth. And that theme is not because of him. But the idea was just that, like, hey, like, look, you're a wrestler, you're a fighter. Like, you're going to be in uncomfortable situations. You need to get more comfortable putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. And that's really a great thing for, you know, idea for life. For myself personally, you know, I have always been somebody that has, you know, had a tremendous work ethic. I've worked really, really hard. That's something that I've had since a young age, and something that's helped me have a lot of the success that I have had. And I was always really ambitious growing up. I always had big goals for myself, big dreams. And, you know, a lot of that came from me not being happy or excited about my current life circumstances. Meaning, like, when I was growing up, like, I had lots, you know, I just didn't really want to continue living the same way that I was living at that time. I remember, you know, in the Florida heat, when I was working as a Cutco sales rep and first starting, I was literally wearing a full suit, tie, everything. And I'd hop into my, you know, my car at the time, which was like it was like a Toyota Celica. The AC barely worked. It'd be sweating my butt off in the Florida heat. You know, I lived in a really crappy apartment in college. And I was, you know, pretty used to being uncomfortable in a lot of situations. And I had a lot of drive. I had a lot of ambition because of that. You know, well, fast forward a couple of years later, like even up to this year, I'm now a division manager. You know, I now have multiple companies. I have, you know, Cutco's provided me with a nice BMW. I live at, you know, one of the nicest condos in downtown Miami, and, you know, things are good. Life is good. And I'm not complaining about any of that stuff. That's all great and blessings and things that I've worked for. And, you know, I would write this down, that comfort is the killer of ambition. Comfort is the killer of ambition. You know, this is why, by the way, if you ever look up stats, most millionaires are first generation millionaires. Over 90% of them. Most people that become millionaires are first generation, meaning that most people that become millionaires, their parents or family before them were not. The vast majority of the time, because it's actually statistically a lot harder for a rich person that comes from a rich family to continue to be rich than it is for someone that came from not a good background to become rich. And that is because, by the way, is comfort kills your ambition. Comfort kills ambition. You know, when you get comfortable with something in life, and this can be, by the way, like this could be money, this can be, you know, weight, this can be health, nutrition. You know, when you're comfortable with all of your eating and stuff like that too, it kills your ambition. When you're comfortable in your workouts and you don't put yourself into uncomfortable situations, you know, it will kill your ambition for fitness. This is true in all things in life. Comfort in school, comfort in the classes that you're taking. You know, there's sayings of like, hey, you want to be like the, you know, some people like to be the smartest person in the room. Like the good idea is to be the dumbest person in the room. That way you're always putting yourself into uncomfortable situations where you're not the star, you're not the shining, and you have an opportunity to grow and expand by being around other people. But comfort kills ambition. And so, you know, the theme I want you guys to have this push is like getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? How many of you all, when a customer, like you're pretty comfortable in the presentation, and then when you get to the homemaker, they start giving you objections. Oh, I need to talk to my husband. I need to blah, blah, this. You get a little uncomfortable when that process starts. You're like, I need to handle this. And you're not like raise your hand if you don't absolutely like, oh, I got this. No worries, Ms. Jones. I'm going to go and you know, you're ready to close. Anyone get a little uncomfortable when they get an objection on the appointment? Okay. It's like your phone approach. You're like, oh, it's going good. It's going good. And then they give me the first objection. It's like, what did I say? You know, like, where's the script? So, you know, that's part of this process. I want you to be comfortable getting uncomfortable. I want you to be comfortable asking questions that other people sometimes would be uncomfortable for them to ask. I want to be comfortable. You know, one of the things that people struggle with in closing is like shutting up and being silent. Right. But there's power in silence, by the way. There's power in being that. You'll notice the difference between a great public speaker and a poor public speaker is when public speakers are new, they oftentimes will just talk. There's very little pauses. They kind of just fill. They do a lot of filler words and just like kind of fill sounds. Accomplished, more veteran public speakers, they will sit there and they can be on stage in front of 1,000 people and not say anything for 20 seconds. And let the pause linger. Let it be more emphasized. They're comfortable being in the discomfort. And that, by the way, makes for a more effective speech, makes for a more effective message when you're working with people, when there is silence, when you do take a pause, you know. And so certain people are uncomfortable hanging out in that, but the real leaders are the people that are comfortable and they can lead that energy. It's all about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. You know, waking up, by the way, at 7:30 over the next couple of weeks. We'll be up and out of pretty early with everybody. And by the way, that's gonna not be for some of you all the most fun thing in the world, is waking up early. And guess what? Could we run the Alliance meetings later and still get the same sales results? We could. You know, you could probably sell just as much and wake up later. By the way, I'll tell you that. But there's a reason why we choose this. There's a reason why we purposely put it, you know, at 7:30 a.m. start time. There's a reason why we are purposely foregoing and going through, you know, discomfort, right? Or lack of pleasure, to be able to fine tune our habits, to be able to get us focused on our goals, to be able to help us expand our capacity. And by putting ourselves willingly through uncomfortable situations, it helps. You know, and so I was talking about earlier, hey, I got really comfortable. Where I was going with this story, by the way, was that then I did something called 75 hard. And my whole entire reason behind this was not for like a fitness goal, but it was as a mental fortitude challenge. And so for those of you all, I think most of you all had to be there at the SC2 kickoff conference. But 75 hard is basically a 75-day mental fortitude or mental fitness program. And for 75 days straight, you work out twice a day. Each workout has to be 45 minutes. One workout's outside for 45 minutes. You have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction business book. You have to drink a gallon of water a day. You have to follow some sort of diet, no cheat meals, no alcohol. I don't know, I think I'm forgetting one thing. I don't know, you take a progress picture each day, but you do that for 75 days. If you missed one thing, one day, you start over from square one. You work out for 44 minutes instead of 45, you start over. You worked out inside and didn't get an outside workout, doesn't matter what the weather conditions are, you start over. Literally does not matter what it is. It's like, hey, you have to do this every single day for 75 days straight. And the hardest part is the mental fortitude. But the reason, by the way, that I personally chose to do that is the same reason that all of you all are personally choosing to go through this push. You know, I knew that would be beneficial for me. And the reality is that I've always had a lot of drive. I've always had a lot of ambition. And my life's gotten, you know, good over the past couple of years. And I've gotten comfortable. And sometimes it's like, all right, I need to purposefully go out of my way right now to put myself into a situation that I'm not very comfortable in. I need to purposely go out of my way to put myself in an uncomfortable situation and expand my capacity and reconnect and get a chance to connect with who I actually am, reconnect to that part of your soul, and be able to lead from that place. You know, so that is what being a part of our alliance is all about. You know, that is the theme of this year. And it's really an opportunity for you to connect with who you are and what your North Star and what your vision is. This push is an opportunity to become the type of person that you actually want to become in your life. You know, and that only happens when you make a decision on who it is that you actually want to become and then start taking the steps to actually become there. And this is an opportunity to do just that. So much of the push, so much of the alliance is not about you hitting your goal or not hitting your goal. Although we really want you to hit your goal. And we're going to work really, really hard to do that. But it's not about selling 10K. It's about making a commitment to a 10K push effort. Okay. You can sell 10K, by the way, and not work the right way. You could also work the right way and not sell 10K. What's the most important is that you, number one, you don't quit, you don't give up on yourself, and you commit to whatever actions you're going to take before the push starts. You know, a lot of people always ask, you know, hey, how do you get motivated for the gym? Well, the reality is that you don't get motivated. And anyone that tells you that is bullshit. Okay. The reality is that you just get committed. Commitment trumps motivation. Because some days you'll wake up and you're motivated to go to the gym. And other days you'll wake up and you're not going to be. What changes that is when there's no option. You committed to something, so you're going to follow through with it. And what happens, by the way, when you start to do that, right, when you make commitments to yourself, and I'll tell you right now, during the push, like you might be motivated now, give it a week. Okay? At one point or another during the push, you will not be motivated. You will be like, F this. I don't want to do this anymore. If you're pushing the right way. By the way, if you don't feel that way at least one time, you're probably not working hard enough. Okay. But at one point or another, during those 2 weeks, if not maybe multiple points, you're going to be like, man, I don't really want to do this anymore. I want to quit. I want to give up, or I'm not on pace to my goal, or at least maybe it's not that strong, but the idea and the thoughts will at least pop up, you know, and at a certain point, it's going to come back to, well, what did I commit to? And when we make commitments to ourselves, right, and actually follow through with them, we get more self-confidence. We have more self-esteem, right? It helps us with our mental health and our integrity with ourselves because our mind and heart actually get connected. You know, when people's mind and hearts are out of whack, which is aka when you like want something and you say you want something, and then somehow you talk yourself out of it or you don't follow through with it. It's like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get fit. And then you don't get it. I'm going to stop vaping. I'm going to stop smoking. And then you keep doing it, even though you told yourself you'd stop. Like what happens is you lose integrity with yourself. You lose your self-confidence. It lowers your self-esteem because you don't actually trust that when you say something, you're actually going to do it. You know, you don't actually believe yourself. You don't trust yourself, you know? And so this is an opportunity to cater and build more trust, more integrity, more commitment in your life with yourself during this time period. And that's what this push is all about. So, okay, we're going to dive into push expectations. We're going to dive into the push calendar, but I'd like to open things up real quickly. As we're getting started today, and I'm talking a little bit about the alliance, and a lot of you have already heard this probably from your managers, I hope. But I'd like to have a couple people post. But first off, go ahead and into the chat box, post up a few, take 2 minutes to real quickly, not 2 minutes, but like 20 seconds to write down and jot down what's a light bulb for you, what's standing out for you right now, what's important to you going into this push, and what's helping you give you some confidence or some clarity right now, and what's important going into the push. And take a quick second to post up some of the light bulbs into the Zoom chat box here. And then I'm going to call on, just have a couple people real quickly share. Share what's coming through, what's resonating with you here as we're getting started. And you can either raise your hand or raise your electronic blue hand, and I'll call on you. Who wants to chime in? Who wants to share? Brian, let's go to you, man.
It's pretty much finding myself. You know, I know myself, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff about myself that I don't know yet, you know? So I feel like this alliance is really going to get me there. It's going to open up my perspective to a whole different perspective of how I saw things differently to how I'm going to see things now.
Awesome. I love that, man. This is going to be an exciting time for you. I'm excited to hear about your vision here in a little bit. We'll talk about that in a second. Who else can share? What's resonating with you or what's helping you as we're getting started here this morning? Yes, Ayana. Did I say it right?
Ayana.
Ayana.
Yeah. So one thing that's really helping me is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I realize that in most situations when I'm uncomfortable, I work better and perform better. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. And as most people do, by the way, and a lot of people, by the way, when they get uncomfortable, they shut down. Right. And that might not be you, Ayana, but most people in life, most people in this age group, by the way, you know, like we've had a lot more, like the reality is that there's more comforts in life now than there's ever been before. You have to realize the generations before you, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have lots of the things that we have now that can kind of keep us comfortable. Right. Like, by the way, people looking at their phones is a sign of comfort. Like what happens when people walk into a party and they're uncomfortable and they don't know who to talk to? Let me pull up my phone and get distracted. That's just a way of like, all right, I'm going to make myself a little bit more comfortable because this is not comfortable and I'm going to check out here. People do that all day long, not just with cell phones, with anything. Anytime that there is an opportunity to, this doesn't feel good, and I feel a little uncomfortable, there's a way to get out of it for most people in life today. And, you know, so it's even more important for us to be intentional about, you know, having that discomfort now and just paying attention to it. Right. And paying attention to, like, you'll start to notice things about yourself and notice like, like, you know, you'll start to notice that you have certain urges, or start to notice, like when I was going through 75 hard, I just noticed like certain things and certain habits, like how strong they were on me because of how hard it was for me to quit them. And me realizing like, dude, like I really like, this is a good thing I'm doing this because I really, this is a lot tougher than I thought it'd be for me. Like it's a lot harder for me to put myself into this discomfort than I thought. Anyone else want to chime in before you move on? Okay. So agenda for the rest of the day today. Okay. And maybe if one of the managers wants to forward out what I sent into the chat, if someone can help me for that, or I can just do it in 3, 2, 1, just so everyone has it. Okay. So that was my opening comments. We're going to dive into some push expectations. We're going to do a calendar walkthrough, and we're going to go to like a little working break. I would typically, by the way, start. The most important thing we're going to do, by the way, is the 10:30 to 11:30 vision casting exercise. That's probably the most important thing that we're going to do to set up your push, is help you all connect to your North Star and your vision here today. But before we do that, I want to go through some expectations and some calendar walkthrough for you all. So we'll hit the logistical stuff, and then we'll hit the more important fun stuff here as we're getting started. It's also the same time some of our branches and districts have a region call at 10:30, so they'll leave for that hour for that call and hop back on here before we do our coveted team draft here. So we'll dive in and we'll talk about the actual push expectations here for a little bit. And it's definitely something that you're going to want to have down in your notes. I'm going to walk you all through the calendar. I'm going to walk you all through the expectations and how to get things set up here appropriately. So first things first is go ahead and open up your calendars, whether that's on paper and pen, whether it's on Google Calendar or whatever it might be. Let's get those calendars open. And I'll walk you through kind of just the next couple of days and the next couple of weeks. So we'll start off with the logistical stuff before we go to our little first working break. And then we'll dive into more of the vision-oriented stuff here as well. So first thing is, let me go ahead and pull up the schedule here. Okay. And So there's going to be some things that are going to be important for us to make sure that we are covering. And I believe it was probably already sent into the Gunner chat here. Actually, I need the correct lineup of events here. Let's see here. Somehow it didn't pull up the right one. It's okay. So I will go ahead and share my screen in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is the Alliance calendar. Everyone should already have this by now. As of now, we're at Wednesday. Okay, so we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Pretty much Sunday, the push begins. Really, the push begins on Monday, but it really begins now. Okay, the push really begins now coming out of this meeting with what you're doing coming out of today. So first thing, and managers, do me a favor, by the way, if you haven't updated the stats for all of your people yet that I've posted them, please do that as soon as possible. So we can make sure we have attendance, marked for Parents' Night and for everything else that we have going on over the next couple of days. Make sure that's inputted onto the stat sheet here, because I'm going to walk them through that in just a few minutes. So today's our meeting, a local alliance meeting from 9 to noon. And then everyone knows we have our team meeting tonight, phone jam, and parents night before 6 o'clock. So for today, the main focus after this meeting ends needs to be doing demos if you have some lined up, but the focus is recommendations, and the focus is getting more names and numbers. So we have the video from our Monday workshop. If you did not, if you weren't there live on Monday, I would highly, highly recommend you take a little bit of time to walk yourself through that. And I'm also going to do a kind of a grade of ranking yourself through the activities that Mike mentioned. So we're going to come back to that here in a second. But focus for today is working on names and numbers. Really, what you want to make sure that you have is by Thursday night at the latest, you want to make sure that you have, this Thursday, you want to make sure that you have somewhere between 150 on the very low end to 250 plus names and numbers already stocked up. So if you came in today with, 100, you've definitely got some moves to make. If you came in today with less than 100, you got some moves to make. And quite, by the way, just for the record, I don't really, want anyone on the Alliance if they have less than 100 names going into Sunday. So if anyone is in that boat, you really got to make some moves here over the next couple of days to build yourself up with some positive momentum. If you don't have at least 100 names and numbers, it's going to be hard to go into the push with at least 20 demos or more. And that's really if there's 2 things that you're writing down for this upcoming week, 2 things to write down, this is what the outcomes. This is what you want to focus on. There's a lot going on, but the main objectives is that you leave Sunday, June 11th, Sunday night with 20 demos or more. And that you show up on Monday morning at 7:28 a.m., a few minutes before 7:30, ready to rock and roll, committed and focused. That's it. If you can just make sure whatever you need to do between now and then to make sure you leave Sunday with 20 or more demos and you show up on Monday morning ready to rock and roll, that's what matters the most. So to show up, let's work our way backwards, right? To show up prepared, committed, and set up here, what needs to happen? Well, number one, there's probably some conversations that should happen with your friends and family this week. Your circles of influence, getting them just as tied in and connected to your goals, in my opinion, is, just as important. So part of being committed to your push and committed to the results is get committed to talking to your parents, your girlfriend, your friends, your significant other, anyone that could be a deterrent or a distraction during this time period would probably be a good person to have a conversation in. Anyone that, either number one, their lack of support could get in the way of you hitting your goal, or their support could really help you fuel your goal. Having the proper conversations with those people is one thing that should probably happen between now and the start of your upcoming push. Raise your hand if you feel like you've already started to have those conversations with the right people, whether it's your parents or whether it's your friends, family, girlfriend. Raise your hand if you still got some work to do on those conversations before the push starts. Cool. So, that's one thing is that you want to make sure that you're set up to do. Second thing that you want to make sure is happening over the next couple of days is if we want to leave Sunday with 20 or more demos booked up, you got to make sure you ride with 10. You got to make sure you ride with 10. Now, when are you going to get those 10 booked up? I don't really care. You can do it. There's phone jam times. And I'm sure, by the way, what I encourage you all to do is if you're jamming, feel free to host your own little jam for people. Be a leader. Be like, hey, I'm making some phone calls on Zoom if anyone wants to hop on here and jam out with me. And we will have, some phone jams in the schedule for Friday and Saturday. if you're going for a 20K push, you definitely want to make sure that you're making calls Friday night for a couple hours and making calls Saturday morning for a couple hours. And then our all-day phone jam is on Sunday at 3 o'clock. If you are not going for as big of a push, then you might not need as much time. But the reality is that you want to make sure you're arriving with Sunday with 10. So whether you book all 10 on Friday, don't work on Saturday, and then show up on Sunday, whether you book 5 on Friday, 5 on Saturday, whether you don't work on Friday and you spend all day on Saturday making calls to get to your 10, those are all options. You can start the process on Thursday. Doesn't really matter when you make the calls. Although, by the way, I would be strategic. Like I would make the calls either Friday morning or Friday in the evening, and then Saturday morning. Friday during the day is not a good time. Saturday afternoon is not as good of a time as the morning is too. So make sure you're making phone calls at good times. But it doesn't really matter when you make the phone calls. It just matters that you're showing up on Sunday with at least 10 demos or more booked up going into next week, so you can leave with 20. The next thing, if you work your way backwards from there, is that if you want to make 20 appointments, right? If you're going to book up, let's call it 10 appointments, and it takes you 5 phone calls to book up an appointment, well, you got to make sure that you have a minimum of 50 phone numbers. If you want to book up 20 appointments, you got to have a minimum of 100 phone numbers, which is why we want to make sure that you have 150 to 250 phone numbers going into the push. So realistically, the deadline for that is tonight. But I would say the real deadline is Thursday. How many names and numbers do you have by tomorrow evening? Because after that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is really, the push time. It's going into the push. The final thing that I'll share with you all, so it's focusing on names and numbers to make sure you have enough to be able to make enough calls to arrive with 20 and show up on Sunday, having the proper conversation so you can go into the push committed. And then the other thing that I'd be thinking about right now is just building up some sales momentum, right? Can you build up some extra sales momentum? I like to hear people hop on earlier today saying, hey, I made a couple sales this morning, or made a couple sales yesterday in the past day or two, which is good and exciting to hear. I will forward this into the group. 3, 2, 1. Okay. But there is a contest going on right now. And if you check in the group chat, all right, $3,500 is going to be raffled off to people on this call. And every $500 gets you in a chance. So the idea here is you just want to focus on orders, right? Specifically, what I write down in my notes is, can I get 2 or 3 orders, 2 or 3 sales on the board between now and Monday? I wouldn't even be focused on the quantity. It's more so, or how much you're selling, more so just like, hey, how many orders are you getting online? If you get in 3 orders, you'll be at least at $500, probably more for most of you all. 3 orders, if your average order is like $300 to $400, probably get you $1,000 and 2 entries in the raffle. But can you focus on getting a couple orders and specifically recommendations from those customers that you're doing presentations with to build up some positive push momentum before the actual push starts on Monday there too? So any questions in terms of the schedule between now and the start of the push? Anyone? All right. A couple more details here for your notes. Next thing to write down would be the all-day phone jam. Okay, the all-day phone jam. And as far as the all-day phone jam goes, okay, what time does the all-day phone jam start? Who knows? 3 o'clock. Ryan's already got his hands up. 3 p.m. So all-day phone jam is going to start Sunday at 3 p.m. I'm going to have our first guest speaker will be there that Sunday to kick us off right at 3 o'clock. Sam Matrico, who I paid most of my guest speakers I have coming for free. Sam, I paid some money to show up. So she's going to be speaking to us though and kicking off our division on Sunday at 3 p.m. So we'll probably be on the phones no later than 3:45 that day. And, you really want to get focused on, like most of you all, that Sunday call day, the push starts Monday, but this is the real first day of the push. That Sunday is one of those tough days. That Sunday, if you do it the right way, it will make you rethink whether or not you should push. Like if you're really being aggressive enough, you're like, do I really want to do this? But then you're ready to rock and roll because you've already been crushing the phones and crushing demos. The Sunday is day where like, that's again, a lot of the battle is made in, kind of showing up, right? It's kind of like if you go to the gym a lot of times, like the battle that is with yourself is oftentimes in just showing up to the gym, right? Getting up out of bed early, Once you get to the gym, it's pretty easy to work out. Like very rarely do you get to the gym, walk inside, and then you're just like, I don't know, I don't really want to work out. And then you leave the gym. Okay. It's usually you just don't ever make it to it. That inner battle for us as reps, it's the same thing. When you have a demo, very rarely do I ever hear a rep being like, yeah, I was tired, so I just canceled the demo, or like I was feeling lazy and unmotivated, so I didn't even try. I didn't even do the presentation. It's usually just the battle is on the phones. The battle is on like putting the work in to make sure you have the appointments booked up. Once you have the appointments booked up, it's easy to show up. So ironically, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like those days, it's like you're just usually the day is stacked with appointments. So you're just going out there and crushing appointments and demos. That's not as hard of a day as you think. The harder days are the ones like a Sunday where you're not doing appointments and you're just making a lot of phone calls. That's where the real battles are won. You know, that's where like the discomfort comes in. That's where it's like do I really want to show up to the gym? Because once you have the demos booked, you know you're going to do it. But it's like getting the demos actually booked. That's where like the mental first kind of mental battles will happen. Now, the first day, I hope if you're preparing yourself, it shouldn't be that tough and challenging of a day. But you want to get yourself into the right mentality on Sunday to probably for most of you all. If you've been on the job, some of you have been here for a long time. Some of you have been here for like a couple of weeks and you found your way onto the Alliance. If you're doing a good job with this, you're probably making, about 100 phone calls on Sunday. And we have till 3 to 9 p.m. So, 6 hours, by the way, if you're making 20 to 30 phone calls an hour, that's, 120 to, 6 times 3, 180 phone calls. I don't know if you need to make that many, but you should probably be making about 100 on the day. 100 will get you probably close to 10 to 20 appointments booked up on that day. And a lot of people will be going for 30 or 40 plus appointments coming out of leaving that Sunday there too. Now, obviously, if you do a better job at this, it makes this a little bit easier. But that's the first day where you're really going to be able to push yourself, and it sets up the rest of the push. There's only 2 all-day phone jams, the 11th and the 18th. And the goal is that by the time that you leave Sunday, you have your entire day for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even most of Thursday already booked up in front of you. Okay. If you don't execute well on Sunday, what the push start turns into a lot of phone calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to try to rebook up the appointment slots that you didn't get booked up yet. And that's kind of the agreement is that, hey, really for the next couple of weeks, you're going to treat this job just like it's a job. And by the way, at most jobs, like at most salespeople, like if you're a real estate agent or if I'm an insurance broker, if I don't have a sales call, you know what I'm doing? Who can tell me what I'm doing if I don't have like a demo or an appointment? Yeah, I'm hopping on the phone to call more people to get more appointments scheduled. That's what most people, by the way, do if they have a professional sales job. They're at work, probably 8 o'clock. They probably leave at like 5 p.m. or maybe 9 to 5, but most of them probably are there from 8 to 5 p.m., 8 to 5:30. And, every day they show up. If they've got appointments for that day, they're doing them. If they're not, the rest of their day is spent trying to schedule more appointments. So that's the same thing in the idea mentality during the push is like, ideally, the ideal schedule is your day stacked with appointments. Because if it's not, the rest of the day is spent, making phone calls and trying to line up appointments, and doing the appointments is usually more fun than trying to spend the whole day lining up the appointments. So really execute on that Sunday and make sure you have your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday appointments stacked. And a lot of people will go into the push with 6, 7, 8. Jealous, how many demos did you have on Monday last year? Actually, I saw it. Didn't you have like 7 or 8 booked for the first Monday of the push?
Yeah, like 7 or 8.
Yeah, so that's the goal is can you go really big with that Monday, close out the sales week strong, and then start the first day of the SC2 push strong here as well. So by the way, everyone has different goals. So I will always talk to you about the overall mentality, but never know that these goals might be adjusted for you and your situation. Also, everyone has agreements. So you might have some days where you're not going to be showing up to our Alliance, which is okay as long as it's agreed to ahead of time, because we will encourage and enforce these agreements that you set out with yourself. You set with us as you should for yourself. Okay. Your managers will help hold you accountable, but no one will hold you more accountable than you will hold to yourself too. So the big thing is like, we want to be actually real coaches for you. And so it's good that we set up agreements and parameters. So some of you all, your daily demo number is like something like 3. Which means realistically, and by the way, 3 might not seem like a lot, but it's a good amount, 3 appointments a day, because it's not just 3 demos a day. It's you got to get 3 completed per day, which probably means you need to get 4 scheduled each day, right? And every day of the push, you got to make sure you have 4 demos booked up. Some of you, by the way, that number is actually like 2.5, So it's just like, hey, no matter what, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you've got to have 3 demos booked up every single day of the push. If one day you only get 2, the next day you got to get 4. You got to make sure you do that. By the way, this is a numbers game. So a lot of this, I want you to know the numbers or like break it down. So where you just know confidently, you can just show up, right? So like, hey, I need to sell 10K for the push. To do that, here's my closing ratio. Here's my average order. I need to make, 30 sales. In order to make 30 sales, I need to do 40 demos. There's 16 days of the push. So I need to do, 2.2 demos every single day for, 16 days during the push. As long as I complete 2 to 3 demos per day, I'll hit my goal. In order to do that, 2 to 3 demos, it takes me 10 phone calls to book up a demo. I just need to make 20 to 30 phone calls a day. If I make 20 to 30 phone calls a day for 16 days straight, I will hit my goal. Break it down to very, very tangible, easy numbers to where it's like, hey, if I just show up and do this, I will get these results, right? Don't overcomplicate it and mystify your goal. But everyone's going to have different daily demo numbers. Some of you all are, it's like literally like 6. You're going hard in this push. Some of you all, it's like 2 or 3. Regardless, you just got to make sure you know your numbers and know what you're working towards in terms of your pushing and your goals. Any other questions on Sunday execution? All right. Then the next thing, okay, so things to prepare, by the way, just make sure you have all your documents and materials ready for that 11th push day. And obviously your names and numbers, all that good stuff. Day 1 of the push, okay? So here's how our meetings will go. 2 other things, actually, sorry, that I want to say before I continue on here. The other 2 things that we'll need from you all is just there's 2 more workshops this week. So we have 1 workshop on closing at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday and 1 workshop on dropping down at 8:30 a.m. on Friday. So by the way, my expectation is if you're part of this alliance, you need to be at those workshops so we can skills check you. If you have a special one-on-one agreement with your manager, you can talk to them. But I would be in the workshops that are going to help you set up the push. That's just my opinion. If you've already missed some of them, then you already might be a little behind, but I would be at those workshops to set up the push. The morning alliance meetings, let's talk about that. So most of y'all have never been a part of Alliance before. So here's how the Alliance meetings will flow. Okay. The meetings will start at 7:30 every morning. 7:30. And by the way, the Zoom will be up before that. So the Zoom will usually be up by like, 10, 15 minutes before 7:30. So hop on ahead of time. We will have a timer, by the way, up every single morning. And this is like don't be late. By the way, late is 7:30 and 1 second. Like, I don't care if the clock hasn't even hit 7:31. It could be 7:30 and 30 seconds. If you hop on then, you're late. Okay. So, and I usually will put up a clock on the screen and we'll have it up there and running. And anyone that is even a second late, we'll talk about the points contest and things like that too. But we're going to have a points contest of the teams that gets pretty rowdy, gets pretty exciting. And it's mainly about gaining points. But if you ever are late to a meeting, even if it's by 30 seconds, you're going to lose a point for your team. So don't do that. Second thing is if you miss a meeting, you lose like 3 points for your team. Or if you're more than 15 minutes late. Second rule is, and by the way, managers, I decided I'm going to do it. If you're more than 15 minutes late, okay, to a meeting, you have to buy breakfast for somebody else on this alliance group. So you'll be Uber Eats them their breakfast. By the way, here's the rule. It's going to be someone that's on the leading team. So whoever is the team that's in the lead right now. And so, by the way, we'll pay to win the competition. I'll also pay to be in the lead because anyone that's late will keep buying breakfast for your team. So you'll have to pick someone on the alliance and take care of them. So by the way, bottom line is you guys need to make money to this push. Don't spend money on a bunch of breakfast. Don't be late. Okay. Make sure you're on time. Make sure you show up ready to rock and roll. Just that's the first rule is don't be late. Second thing is make sure you show up the right way. Don't just kind of show up, sort of halfway be there. Every morning when you need to be there, it's cameras on, lights on, be engaged. And I recommend don't wake up at 7:29, roll out of the bed and be and click on the Zoom. Okay. Maybe that happens one day, but that should not be how you're showing up to these meetings. Wake up. You're probably going to want to wake up, I don't know, latest, maybe 7 a.m., during the push, so you can actually have like time to get ready and stuff like that too, and look presentable before you hop on the calls and not look like you just rolled out of bed. So just make sure you're ready to rock and roll. We'll start at 7:30 each day, 7:30 to 7 to hit the gym before the meeting. That's right, Brian. 7:30. By the way, we'll probably have, we did it last year. We had some virtual Zoom workouts. I had a trainer come on, and like at like 6:30, a couple mornings during the push, we did some team workouts and stuff like that too for people that maybe would like to partake. Anyways, 7:30 to 7:15 a.m. Sorry, to 8:15 a.m. First 30 to 45 minutes every single morning will be personal growth oriented. We're going to have guest speakers lined up for this. And I really think you are going to take a lot away from those sections every single morning. This is like probably one of the most valuable parts. And I do it early for a reason. It's for the early risers here. 7:30 to 8:15. And that will be somewhat Cutco related, but more mentally. More, because by the way, half your push is the mental game. Okay, 8:15 to 8:45 a.m. every morning, we will have some sort of Cutco skill set development. Hey, we're going to be talking about closing. We're going to talk about being recommendations. We're talking about increasing your average order. We're going to talk about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. How do you handle objections when they come up, right? How do you ask for bigger sales and bigger orders? How do you get more recommendations on your appointments? We'll have some sort of Cutco skill set, how to sell flatware, how to sell cookware, how to sell the Cutco kitchen, how to sell 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 grand orders. We'll talk about all that stuff during the push if you're excited about any of that. And then at 8:45, the last 45 minutes to an hour, we'll have a phone jam. So you want to make sure every morning, the mentality is pretty much every alliance meeting, you're going to make 10 phone calls in the very bare minimum ever. Okay, there will never be a morning that you show up to that we don't make at least 10 phone calls on. But probably, 10 to 20, most mornings will be 20. And if you don't have an appointment at 10 a.m. or 10:30, then you usually just will stay on the Zoom link and keep making calls until you book up an appointment for that day or same day. Unless that was something that was already agreed to with your manager, then obviously you'd have a pass. Yeah, we'll start there. So that's the overall kind of flow of those meetings each morning. Any questions on that? Okay. Here's a few other things that we're going to go over. Okay. And let me just make sure I'm good here. All right. The other things in the morning meetings is you want to have two things that I have you prepared. Have a journal, have a notebook or a journal. I'll write that down in your notes. Have a notebook or a journal. Okay. And I would have the same notebook or journal for the whole push. So you can take notes on each day, each alliance meeting each morning. Really, really valuable. I know, I remember, like, I think actually I do. But there was one push where I didn't have the same notebook. I lost my notebook and I started taking notes in another one. And I always regretted it because it's really valuable to have each and every single day of the alliance, the journaling exercises that we're going to go through, what you're going to write in, what you're going to learn about yourself, how you're going to grow, the skill set development. Having that, especially if you go into advancement, become a leader in the future, is really, really valuable. Branch managers, I'm recommending the same thing for you all. A lot of you all, I'm running your alliance for you. You should know how to run and also a kick-ass alliance. So taking notes each day on hey, how you're growing and what you're learning so you can do this too one day in the future. Last thing that I'll just say about the alliance meetings, okay, guys, is we're going to get weird. We're going to get weird. What I mean by that, okay, is that, and maybe some of this stuff is weird for some of you all, some of you, it's not. But we're going to do things that maybe are outside of the realm of what's considered normal for a lot of you all. Things like meditation, things like breathing exercises, things like visualization exercises, things that will help put you all in the peak states and I think help you become a lot better performers. And the reality is that stuff is not really, and maybe it's a little more popular today, but a lot of the stuff that we'll do is going to be stuff that's might be considered weird or not normal or just not the status quo. And going back to the same topic of getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? How many of you all I'll just look, if you want to live a life that is above average, if you want to have a life that's above average, if you want to have or be somebody that is extraordinary, what does extraordinary stand for? Or what does it mean? It's literally the words extraordinary, meaning beyond what is ordinary. Something, it's here's ordinary, here's everybody else. And then extraordinary is beyond that. right? If you want to be above average, you've got to do the things that other people aren't doing. If you want to have a life and live a life or have money or have a family, like if you want to have and experience things that's not standard and normal for everyone else to experience, and most of you all probably are in that boat of like, raise your hand if you want to have like a little bit maybe above average life than what most people experience in the world. Yeah, then you've got to do things that are outside of the normal of what most other people are doing. If you want to make more money than other people are making, you got to do things that other people aren't doing. If you want to experience more joy and happiness and be, and enjoy your life a little more, you're going to have to do things outside of the norm of what other people consider normal. So being a leader and a person of influence in the culture is really what we're going to train you how to be and do during the alliance. And to do that, by the way, sometimes we have to go against what's considered culturally the norm. To do that, if you want to have things that other people don't have, you got to do things that other people won't do. And that's the reality of it. You got to be willing to be able to put yourselves into those uncomfortable situations, and you will have things outside of the realm of what is considered comfortable for most people. So that's the first thing. Okay, so we'll get a little weird during the alliance. There'll be more to come on that. And I just encourage you to continue to embrace it and also challenge yourself if something ever feels we're uncomfortable. You can always talk to us, but it's not nothing that crazy. But it will be things that I think maybe you don't realize how this ties to selling more at Cutco. But it certainly will help you sell more at Cutco. And more importantly than that, I think will make you live a life of impact, significance. Let's talk about mentality, expectations, and then we're going to go to a working break here. Our branches are going to have to leave here in just a second. So here's the last few things I can give you on mentality and expectations. Number one, outcomes and actions, not results. Outcomes and actions, not results. Okay. I don't give a shit how much you sell to the push. I really don't. I do, but I don't. Okay. Outcomes and actions, not results. The reason that people are part of this group end up becoming part of the alliance is because of the outcome. It's because of the actions. What's important is not selling 10K or not selling 10K. It's giving the 10K push effort, which means, I'll tell this to all of you all. I don't care if the last day of the push, you've already hit your goal, like you've already hit 10K. You don't stop pushing the last day. You work just as hard that last day, if not more hard, than all the other days of the push. Okay. And you're going to exceed your goal. I don't care if the last day of the push or halfway into the push, you're nowhere near your goal. You've only sold $200 and you've been working at this for 2 weeks. You're still going to finish strong. You're still going to give the 10K push effort. So it's all about committing to the effort and committing to the actions, not committing to selling 10 grand. Because maybe you do, maybe you don't. There's some chances in there. There's some, question marks next to that. By the way, if you map out the numbers and focus the numbers game, you will hit your goal. But it's not about the achievement of the goal. It's about what you are going to do, what actions you're committing to for yourself to get there to the goal. It's not about, hey, getting to the right body weight or how fit you're going to be. It's about what workouts you're committing to, to get there. And if you do those workouts, you're going to get there or get pretty damn close as long as you actually follow through with it. It's not a commitment to get to that specific image, that body type, or to that goal or whatever it might be. So outcome and actions, not results. Second thing is make sure you know your daily demo number and your total push number. Your daily demo number and your total push number. Okay. And you can find those things, by the way, if you haven't already mapped that out with your manager, they should be able to kind of map out exactly, how much you're going to need to sell each quarter of the push, and overall, how many total demos do you need for the push to be completed, and based off your closing ratio and percentage, and then divide that by how many push days that you have. If you don't have any special one-on-one agreements, you have 16 push days. So there's 18 days during the push minus, 2 Sundays that you probably won't be doing very many demos. So 16 days, what's your daily demo number? And make sure that you have that number down into your notes. And we'll be reviewing that here in just a second. The next thing that you need to have, just the last thing is the mentality that you want to have for the push is a 1-day push 18 times in a row. A 1-day push 18 times in a row. That's really what you're doing. Okay. When I was at 75 hard, it wasn't about 75 days. People would ask me, what day are you on? I'm like, I have no idea. I was developing and creating a lifestyle of what I was doing. I couldn't tell you if I was on day 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I had no idea. It was just a 1-day push every day. all I was focused is on that day. Have I done my 2 workouts? Have I accomplished what I need to do? Have I gotten this done? Same thing with you all during this push. It's an 18-day push, but it's 1 day each. Okay. Hey guys, what we're going to go ahead and do right now is we're going to go ahead and fill out these alliance contracts before our managers break off into their call. And then we'll take a quick, 5 to 10 minute working break and give some people some time to use the restroom, things like that too, if they need to. So real quickly, what I'm going to go ahead and share with you all is our alliance folder. And this is something that you're going to use throughout the duration of the push here. And you're going to want to make sure that you star this link. Okay. So it's going to be sent into the group chat and 3. Okay. Let me put this in star alliance SC2 alliance folder. All right. And it's sent to you all in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so go ahead and star that message so you have that, everybody. And you're going to go ahead and open up that bad boy. And it's going to bring you guys to a couple folders, which by the end of the day today, we will have all filled out. So managers, first thing is before you leave, I need this to make sure this is done. Managers, before you hop on your call, and this is just for branches and new DMs, by the way. But make sure that you have filled out the respective sections here, which anyone that is, if they're not here present, you can put like missing, or if they have a special agreement with you to like watch a recording or something like that, you can put that there. And then just make sure that everything else is filled out in terms of names and numbers and things like that. Everybody else, what we're going to do real quickly is you're going to go into the contracts folder, and I'll send a copy of this document out. Okay, as well. But this is the 10K Alliance agreement. And so managers, I'll have your people start this, by the way. You might have to follow up here. Let me just copy this link. Okay, so I just sent it in to the group chat, so you can click on that link as well. And then follow along with me. We're going to read through this together, and then everyone's going to fill this bad boy out and make your own copy and add it to this folder. Okay, so let me go around the horn. Who can I have a volunteer as who can be a reader for me? I'll just call on. I might just. All right. Anissa, you want to take it? Perfect. And then I'll switch up after every couple people. So 10K Alliance agreement, SC2 push 2021. I'll read the first line. I am totally committed to the effort it will take to achieve insert CPO goal during this push period. I will help rally and support the other squad members so we can all achieve more during this push than we would without each other's support and encouragement. Number 1, Anissa, go ahead and take it.
I will do everything it takes to achieve my goal.
Yep. So you won't give up on yourself. You're going to actually follow through with what your commitments are to you. Second thing. Next one.
I will strive to do blank appointments every day that I agreed to work during the push. I recognize by doing blank appointments during the push, I am choosing a path that will give me a realistic chance at earning blank.
Yeah. So same thing on here. Everyone has their goals here, right? So, Brian, I'm looking at yours right now. If this is accurate, you have your $20,000 as your sales goal, 62 demos is the total goal. So here on the sheet, I would be putting, hey, I recognize that I've been doing 62 appointments during the push. I'm choosing a path that will give me a realistic chance at 20K. And I'll strive to do, and I don't know what your daily number is, but 62 divided by 16. 3.875. So I'll strive to do 4 appointments every day that I agreed to work during the push, right? All right, Anissa, keep going.
If I have a day where I have less than 4 appointments set up, I will make a minimum of 50 phone calls on that day. If I have a cancellation, I will use that time to make 20 phone calls or book up at least 2 appointments to replace that cancellation.
Awesome. So again, just getting to the mentality of like, hey, look, if one appointment cancels, you're going to be pushing, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And by the way, it's really just treating the job like a job, like an adult. It's just the same way that I gave you guys earlier. If you don't have appointments, you're working on getting more appointments booked up. If you have one cancel, so if you have no appointments for the day, you've got nothing to do except make more phone calls to get more appointments booked up, for the same days or for the next day. So at least tomorrow, you're not in the same situation that you were in that day. Next one.
I will show up to all phone jams with at least 50 names and numbers to call. I will not leave a phone jam until I have reached my goal.
Awesome. All right. Next one, and then we'll switch to the reader.
I will arrive to the all-day call day on Sunday, July 11th, with at least 10 demos ahead of me and will leave with 20 to 30 plus demos. I will have 150 to 250 plus names and numbers prior to July 11th to make this happen. I will commit to phoning and not distracting myself and others.
Cool. This one's important, by the way, not distracting myself or others. By the way, same thing. Every time, a lot of times we only get uncomfortable, we bring others into the situation that we're in to make ourselves feel more comfortable. It's like, oh man, I'm not getting the push results that I want. I'm having a shitty phone jam. Maybe I still can have someone else come down here and sit in the shit with me. You know, hey Brian, are you sure you want a phone jam? Like, let's go do something else. Like, and people, you see that happen all the time. People will try to pull people down with them so they're not as uncomfortable being the person that's not getting the results done or the person that's struggling or challenged, right? So make sure you're building up the people around you. All right, who else can take the last few to read here? All right, let's do Ayana. You want to take it?
Okay. It's 6, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I will attend the 16 daily alliance meetings at 7:30 a.m. through 9:30 a.m. on agreed mornings. I will not oversleep. I will show up ready to make phone calls with a list of at least 50 names and numbers. I will show up ready and able to complete the same day demos I book, and I will have a good attitude at every meeting. And 7.
Yep. Awesome. All right, let's keep going here to the next one.
I will record my demos on Zero.
Yep, I'll go over that in a second.
So my manager can effectively coach me. I recognize that my results will inspire the rest of the team, so I will post all hot updates to WhatsApp group. I also recognize that I will sometimes have to force myself to get the encouragement I need when I most need it. I will be totally accountable to the office.
All right, great. Hey, managers, by the way, do you guys have the Zoom link for the call? I think they already hopped off, but all right, never mind. All right, keep going here. Let's see real quickly. Jonathan, are you still on here, by the way? You obviously don't have to hop onto that call.
Yeah, I am.
All right, cool. I'm going to need your help here in a second, by the way, since all of them left. All right, next one. Oh, by the way, let me actually elaborate and explain. Zero, by the way, is an app that you guys are going to be able to use. What it's going to do is, and we don't do this for everybody because we don't want to have to deal with it for every rep on our team. But when someone is getting good and they want some serious coaching, what we have you do is something called Zero. And this app is an app that I can actually hop onto my appointments. And all you do is just when you start an appointment, you press the record button. I put my computer down, my phone down right here and record it. And I can actually record the whole demo. So I can record me and the customer. And then what it does is it uploads into the manager database. And they're not going to listen to every single demo that you did. But that way, anytime that you want help, and you're like, hey, how could I have done that better? Or how could I have had that conversation? How could I have handled that objection a little bit better? Or my appointment was going well until this point. Can you go back and check and see how I did right there? And you can actually get some one-on-one coaching from your manager specifically on the presentation so they can coach you a little bit better and help you and give you better feedback if you know, as needed during the push time. So we'll use that and I'll show you guys how to set that up a little bit later here. Last 3 points.
Okay. If I am struggling with adversity, I will talk to Andrew or my manager to help guide me.
All right, next one.
I will maintain a positive attitude throughout the entire push period. I will not bring negativity of any kind into the office, Zoom, or my group chats. I will not complain or spread negativity to other Alliance members. I promise to share any negative thoughts or complaints only with a manager or Andrew directly.
Yeah, so I'll give you guys, here's something to put down into your notes, okay? I write down 5 minutes, 5-minute vet. 5-minute vet. Okay, 5-minute vent, meaning sometimes you might get frustrated and it's okay to be frustrated and it's okay to sometimes vent too, by the way. Here's my recommendations for like when you need a vent is 2 things. Number 1, vent up, not down. What that means is venting up. Okay, so like vent to your manager, vent to someone else that's supporting you. Don't vent to the people that are on your team. Don't vent to, your maybe girlfriend or boyfriend. Because what you're going to do then is you're going to take all your shit and make it all their shit. Right? You're going to just kind of word vomit on them. And then they're going to feel how you're feeling. Right? So like vent up when you need help and when you need support. Like vent up to other people that can help you, right, in that process. Second thing is like, hey, 5 minutes. If you ever want to, I have like a 5-minute rule, okay, which is like, hey, if you ever want to get mad about something, it's okay. Go get mad, go get frustrated, go get pissed off, but like do it for like 5 minutes and then be done with it. You can say whatever you want. You can vent it all out. You can let it all come out of your mouth and just spew it all out there, but you get 5 minutes. And after that, it's time to, all right, I vented, it's out, time to move on and have the direction. You're not allowed to stay in that state and continue to be upset and mad and bring that into the rest of the day, into the next day, and make something that was a small issue turn into, your dissatisfaction or unhappiness for multiple hours or multiple days, for that matter. So it's just the idea of, hey, having a 5-minute vent, venting up, and just making sure you're taking care of your team too, because they all have big goals as well. And negativity spreads like wildfire. It's like a leech. As soon as one person gets negative, it's very easy to start negging out anybody else on your team, and everyone else is just as committed to their own goals as you should be too. So all right, last two, or maybe last one. Did we already go over number 9?
Yeah, we already went 9.
All right, cool. 10 then.
Okay. I will not let up at all during the push and will never give up on my goal. I am fully committed for the entire push under any and all circumstances. I will not quit. My manager reserves the right to remove me from the alliance based on effort or attitude.
Yeah, by the way, you will never, ever, ever get removed from the alliance because of performance. But if you miss, by the way, there's a points for missing the meetings, but you should never miss a meeting. And the points is to make it fun, but also the alliance is like a strategic group. And if you're someone that's consistently bringing and dragging down the rest of the alliance, then we would probably take you off. I haven't really had to do that. I didn't do that. I usually have never had to do that, by the way, but I'm just putting it out there. The biggest number one rule is you just can't quit. The biggest rule is just you can't give up on yourself. That's it. That's the number one rule. Okay. Is once you start, you can't give up on yourself. You can't quit halfway through the process. We'll take this is, and by the way, this is called our SC2 alliance contract. This is not a contract. This is not selling your soul. This is not a binding legal document. It's a commitment to yourself, and it's a commitment to your manager and the rest of the team. That's really what it is. Okay. So you're making a commitment to yourself and how you're going to show up, and you're making a commitment to your manager. And by the way, your manager needs to sign this as well, because they need to make a commitment to you for the exact same things. Right. And make sure that they are on the same page with you. So when you sign, it says, when I fully commit to my goal during the push, I will stack savings, develop my skill set, open up many future doors and opportunities for myself. But most importantly, I will have a chance to see who I am and take the proper steps towards who I need to become. And then your manager will sign. I will maintain a positive attitude throughout the entire push. I'll manage to the best of my ability. I'll be available at all times to help each alliance member. I commit to running extraordinary alliance meetings, and I promise to remain fully committed to each alliance member and his or her goal. So what you're going to go ahead and do is, I sent this link to the chat. You're going to hit file, make a copy. Okay. You're going to make a copy of this bad boy and make sure that you'll make a copy and it will stay in the folder. And then when you do it, you can change it to SC2 Alliance Agreement and change sample to your name. So I'd put SC2 Alliance Agreement, Andrew Evans, make a copy of it, hit OK. And then you'll go through and you'll edit your numbers and your goals. If you have questions about your numbers and goals, maybe check in with your manager real quickly, but go ahead and fill in the blanks. And then you'll put your name and date there at the bottom, and then send it to your manager when you're done. And they're going to go ahead and sign it and put the date at the bottom. So let's take, we'll take 5 minutes here real quickly. Take 5 minutes to go ahead and fill out your goals, fill out your stat sheets. And then once you have signed the contract, you can post into the chat here real quickly. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and just make sure you guys make a copy of it and don't edit the one that I have. So just make a copy of it, edit that one. Take 5 minutes, by the way. As soon as you do that, if you need to use the restroom or something else like that, you can feel free to. And then at 10:45, we're going to dive into the next section. So feel free to get some bio break if you need it. And then, nope, Ariel, the link is not in this chat. It's in the Alliance group chat. The Alliance group chat here. So let's take 5, fill those bad boys out. Managers are going to go ahead and back and follow up with them and sign them. And then we'll get started with the next section here in just a few minutes. I'm going to use the restroom as well. Come on back, come on back. If you have your document uploaded, do me a favor and just make sure, like a lot of y'all made copies of it, just make sure there's only one of yours and make sure that it says your name on it. You don't have to include the sample of 2021. So just make sure you click, right click it and you can click rename if you need to change yours. Most people should be on here ready to rock and roll. So we will go ahead and get started. All righty. So the next section is one of the more fun ones, I think, for this meeting. And this is probably the most important thing for us to accomplish today, is helping you all connect to a deeper purpose and vision. You know, so part of getting committed, part of making that commitment to yourself is making sure you're committing to the version of yourself that you can become during this process. So, you know, I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about vision. And you might have heard that word before. And when I talk about vision, I'm not talking about your actual eyesight. I'm talking about the vision that you have for the future. And all of you all have some sort of vision. By the way, whether you realize it or not, you have some sort of vision. Anything, if you're moving closer towards something, or, you know, whether it can be a good vision or a bad vision, but you're always moving towards your vision that you have for yourself. And so the more clear and precise you can get on what that vision is for yourself, the better off you're going to be. And, you know, most people, by the way, a lot of people, I write this down. You can write down, you can live from vision or you can live from circumstances. You can live from vision or you can live from circumstances. People that live from circumstances go, well, you know, here's the situation that I'm in, so this is how I'm going to respond. Right? Oh, here's my circumstances, so I guess this is what I'm going to do. Right? Which, by the way, if you're running a company or if you're just operating and running the CEO of your own life, it's never really a good place to be and living from. It's from your circumstances, because your circumstances will always dictate how you show up to those around you. When you lead from vision, it doesn't really matter what the circumstances are. You're leading and coming from a place of what your vision is and what you're working towards. So you are actively going to affect and change your circumstances to be able to put you on the path towards your vision. You know, this is important if you're running a company. This is important for, you know, your own life and how you show up. So, you know, everyone's got some sort of vision that they might have for themselves for the push, but it will help when the bigger your vision is, the easier it is to have things align on taking the steps and process towards that vision. You know, I think about Steve Jobs. I'm pretty sure everyone, raise your hand if you know who Steve Jobs is. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who Steve Jobs is. Okay, founder of Apple Computers. And, you know, Steve Jobs has a crazy story. When I think about vision, I think about Steve Jobs. I think about someone that had so much vision and had someone that was told they were crazy over and over and over again. I think about someone that, you know, by the way, his life circumstances would probably have not made him like, you would have not guessed based off of his circumstances that he would have been one of the CEOs and the founders of one of the most successful companies in American and world history. Right. By the way, Steve Jobs, I won't read through this whole article, but I can send it to the group chat if you're curious. You know, he didn't even go to, like, by the way, like, first off, a couple different things. Okay. His parents were both teachers, right? They decided to give up Steve for adoption, by the way. So Steve was born to parents and then was given up from his own parents. And then he was adopted. by another family. He went to college and dropped out of college after one semester of college and school because he wasn't really having success for it and in it, and it wasn't really for him. So this is a guy that has already been given away by his own parents, that has already gone to college and is now a college dropout. And from there, he went on a trip to India to find some spiritual enlightenment. 2 years later, founded Apple Computers inside of his garage. No money, no resources, nothing outside of an idea and a vision for people having an experience with a computer on something that's user friendly. He had a lot of success. And then, by the way, after that success, he had more challenges. Okay. After he built this great company, started building these computers and had so much success, he actually got kicked out of his own company. Imagine finding a company like you were the creator of it, and then you got kicked out by your board of directors. And he was removed and ousted as CEO for several years. He was forced to sell his shares and resign from the company completely. Then, years later, he returned to Apple, came back in as not the CEO, as just a paid position, and then returned to the position of CEO the following year at Apple. Then eventually battled cancer, and you know how the rest of the story goes. But this is an example, without diving into all the details, of someone that had an extraordinary vision for what's possible. Every single person in the world's lives are different today because of this guy's vision. And it would have been very easy for him to quit and give up on himself at so many parts in that stage of process. And no one would have the experience that we have in today, our life, if it wasn't for the vision that Steve Jobs had for what the future could be. I can share you all an example in my own life where I had a powerful vision. A lot of you all may know this right now, but, or maybe don't, but I ran a couple of branch offices in college. One of those branch offices, I'll even just show you guys right here. Okay, so, well, actually, before I even show you. So first off, one of those branch offices, a branch office is obviously really challenging and tough and competitive. On the third branch office that I ran, okay, this is just a story from a personal example. The branch record at the time was $540,000. That record had been there for almost a decade. It was a really, really hard record to break. Usually the number one branch office, which by the way, I was the previous summer, I was the number one manager in the company and I sold 350 grand. Number one office. I was the same office summer that Alex started, that first branch Silver Cup summer, 350 grand sales. And the next best office was 270 grand. By the way, to give you guys an idea, the number one branch office in the country for this summer is sitting at about $130,000 in sales. And they're the number one branch right now performer. So the record is 540 grand. So like 5 times what the number one branch is this year, this summer. Okay. And that record was basically, considered impossible to be able to break by a branch office in the summertime. And I had the desire, I had this vision. I was like, dude, we're going to go out there and we're going to break this record. We're going to make it happen. And I remember 6 months before that summer started, I was telling people about my idea. I was telling people about my vision. I was sharing it with others. And I got looked. I remember Brian Hillman, who's a good friend of mine. It's the one that runs our Virginia division. He pulled me aside and said, he literally just said, that's not going to happen. Like he said, hey, like I said, this is a goal. We're going to break the record. He's like, dude, I don't think you realize how hard that is. I don't think you're respecting the challenge. I don't think you're ready for it. I don't think you're going to do it. Right. And basically I was told like, hey, we would not be doing that. We would not be breaking the record. That was just not going to happen. It was impossible. It was considered impossible to do. And, but I was connected to my vision. I was excited for what's possible. And my vision was so much more than breaking the record. The vision was for the experience and what we were going to build and create in Miami that summertime. And by the way, that summer, our goal was to do $700,000 in sales. And so not only did we end up breaking that record, okay, but I don't know if you can even see that on the screen there, but we ended up selling $668,000 that summer. And we broke that record by over $140,000 in sales, demolished the record. And no one's ever come close since that summer to breaking that record ever again. And by the way, for the record, I didn't even tell my team when we broke the record. They didn't even know. They found out at the end of the summer that we broke the record. And we just went above and beyond our goal. Because my vision for that summer was doing $700,000 in sales. And by the way, we came and fell a little bit short of that goal. We had a goal that was so big, we didn't even hit it. We fell short. But guess what? Our goal and our vision was so big, so tremendous that no one really gave a shit about the record. We were working towards our vision and what was possible for that summer. And by doing that, by the way, we broke the record in the way. We broke the record along the way. We made some really exciting things happen because of how connected our assistant manager team was and how tied into that vision we really, really were. You know, your vision is everything. And, you know, what we're going to do right now is I want to spend a little bit of time helping you all connect a little bit to your North Star. So what I want you all to do is I want you to think about something that would be a moment in your life that would really inspire you, that you would feel if you could feel this or you could experience this moment, that it would be, you know, fulfilling. And Jonathan, whenever you get the chance, by the way, I think we're missing a couple people if you want to send us a message for attendance, if you notice what I'm talking about. And what I want to allow you all to do, okay, is I want to give you permission here to think really big. I want to give you permission to think big. And maybe you need to connect to a goal first, but the real juice is in connecting to the moment. So what you want to write down in your notes is North Star / vision. And I want you all to think about, we're going to kind of have a little journaling exercise on what your North Star is or what your vision is. And when I say North Star, another word for this would be as an impossible moment. And, you know, I want you to think about a moment that it seems so big for yourself that maybe that moment kind of feels impossible, right? And I'll give you guys a couple of examples of maybe what this could look like, right? So for me, maybe that summer, that moment was, you know, hey, finishing off the summer and being at our last conference and being able to tell the team that we broke the record, or winning that silver cup on stage at the end of the year, like that moment, that experience. So, you know, for me, and I'll share with you all a little bit of my personal North Star, you know, and so this is the vision that I have for myself. And I want you guys to think about a moment. It doesn't need to be during this push. It could be a couple years, 5 years, 10 years, 30, 40 years down the road. But what's like a, hey, like, where in a moment in time where it's like you see yourself doing something and you feel yourself happy, you feel yourself fulfilled, and that would be like the pinnacle of your life experience. Like if you had this moment, right? So maybe your moment is, I remember from my mentor and my coach, his moment he shared with me is like, hey, my impossible moment is I'm on stage, I'm DJing a stage in a concert full of thousands, like over 10,000 people in the crowd. And I'm leading them through some consciousness breath movement while we're on stage, listening to music, 10,000 people deep. Like that's his impossible moment. It's like him doing that. There's a lot of things that would lead up to that moment, right? For me, my impossible moment, my North Star, that vision, what I see for myself is that at one point in the future, I see myself sitting down and I am a member of a group of collective world leaders. And I'm sitting down with the other leaders of the rest of the world. And we are sitting down and we are making some world changing decisions. And we're having a conversation about the future of the planet Earth and the future direction for our society and for humanity as a whole. And I'm sitting down with the other world leaders and providing direction and wisdom, you know, on that decision-making process. I don't really know what I'm doing there or what my position is or my role or how I'm there, but that's where I see myself, is sitting down at that table with all these other world leaders and, you know, making a decision and making decisions and processes that are going to affect really the rest of the world. And by the way, as I share that with you all too, like sometimes your vision can be so big, like I even feel silly sharing that with some of you all right now. And I think it's possible, but it also feels so big that kind of seems impossible. Like, you know, it's almost so outlandish that it's like, yeah, it is possible, but it also kind of seems or feels impossible. But here's the thing, it's not about the moment. It's not about the actual, does that happen? Will Andrew Evans, will I ever sit down with a bunch of world leaders and help make decisions that process the world? It's about what that moment inspires me to do, how that moment inspires me to show up, because it gives me clarity on the man that I need to become and the opportunity that I have, right? And those are the things that I'm going to think about becoming more of during this push. Right. So when I'm thinking about that North Star vision, something that's really inspiring and fulfilling, that epic moment in time that feels almost like an impossible moment for me, you know, what's most important is like, okay, cool. Regardless of whether I actually do that or not, who would I need to become in order to become that person? Well, I'd probably need to be someone that, has a lot of compassion. I probably need to be someone that can exercise a lot of wisdom and discernment. I probably need to have a lot of experience making really tough choices and tough decisions. I probably need to be a really passionate leader, and I need to be a spokesperson on the behalf for a lot of other people that can't speak up for themselves. I probably need to have a lot of awareness around myself and how other people are really feeling and doing. I probably need to have a really big, massive network if I'm sitting down with other big worldly leaders. I probably need to have a lot of personal discipline and leadership in the way that I carry myself. Like, I'm thinking about the qualities of who's the qualities in the version of Andrew Evans that would have the ability to sit down with those people. What's the version of me that I would need to develop into to even become that person? And you're working your way backwards and saying, cool, that's who you're working on becoming during this push. You're working on becoming more the version of you that could accomplish that North Star and that vision for yourself. Raise your hand if you're following along with me a little bit here. You guys see where I'm going with this? Okay. So we're going to journal on 5 questions here. 5 questions. The first question that you can write down is, number 1, what is your North Star? What is your vision? What's your North Star? What's your vision? What's your impossible moment? What's something that would really inspire and fulfill you in a possible situation? That's the first question. Okay. Second question is, who would you have to become to be that person that's fulfilling that moment or making that happen? Who would you have to become? What qualities would you need to have? What experiences would you have had to have gone through? The third question is, how can you use this push as an opportunity to become more of that person? Why does that version of you need you to be all in during this push? And I put a couple notes there: beyond the money, beyond the experience, beyond the significance or recognition that this push comes with. Like, beyond all that, the most valuable part of this push is who you become through the process. The version of you that realizes the North Star. So why do you need to go through this push? And the last 2 questions I'll get to in a second. So how does that version of you respond, and what's your goal for this push? So we're going to take about maybe 10 minutes here to work on this. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time sharing. And feel free to and really journal on this. I'm going to put some kind of contemplative music on it. And we're going to spend a couple of times, and I'll kind of guide you guys through this process as we go through it. But the first thing you want to write down in your journal is, number 1, what's your North Star and vision? And I'll put some music on. I'll start throwing out some more ideas for anyone that needs some help kind of piecing this together. Let's see here. So we're going to have about 10 minutes to write. So take the first 4 to 5 minutes and start working on, what is that vision that you have for yourself? And I really, again, I want to encourage you to think really big here. Think beyond what maybe you've thought about in the past. Right? And don't be afraid to say something that feels impossible or feels like, yeah, that probably will never happen. If it might feel scary, it might feel a little too outlandish. If it becomes scary, outlandish, and feels a little impossible, but it still invigorates you by the idea, that's where you know you're kind of connecting to the right thing. A moment in future. It's probably not happening this year. Probably not even next year or the year after that. What's a moment in the future, a moment in time where you are realizing your vision, that North Star? If it helps you, maybe connect to a personal goal first. Maybe it's being a doctor, right? I want to be a doctor, and that's my North Star vision. And the moment in time, the possible moment that I have is, I'm coming out to give the news to a family that I saved their child's life, or their child, is healed. That's the moment in time. But the goal is like becoming a high power level doctor. That's just an example, right? So think about maybe what's the goal that you have for yourself, or what's the vision, and then what's like a moment in time that like is the pinnacle of the fulfillment of that vision. and connect to that moment here. Most of the time should be spent on question number 1. Okay, so we're probably gonna spend a couple minutes working on that first thing and really journal on it. The more specific you can get into the details and the feelings of that moment, like literally try to put yourself there. How do you feel in that moment? What are you experiencing? What are you excited about by? What does this mean for you and for your life? What does that moment represent? Question number 1, what is that North Star or vision? What's something that would really inspire and fulfill you? If you're still working on number 1, take your time. If you're ready, you can move on to the second part of the question, which is who is the version of you that is able to make that moment possible? Who's the version of you that's able to make that moment become a reality? What's the version of Logan? What's the version of Brian? What's the version of Susan that could actually take that North Star and make it a reality? Who would you have to become? What qualities or attributes do you have? What experiences have you gone through already? Brian?
If I'm not mistaken, you only gave us question 1 through 3 right now, right? You haven't given us 4 and 5?
I put them into the group chat, but yeah, if you're already ready for 4 or 5, you can kind of look at them. I'm about to guide you through that though too.
I'll just wait for you then.
Yeah. If you're done with the first 3, spend more time, like elaborate more. See if you can get more clarity on the vision, right? Can you describe more parts of it? The third question is how, so once you've journaled a little bit, guys, on the North Star and vision and who you want to become, which that should be the majority of this. Questions number 1 and 2 are the most important. Everything else is secondary to that. Okay, the third question is, once you've got into that North Star and vision, you've connected to it a little bit, you've written down a little bit about the qualities or the experience that, how can you use this push to become more of that person? And answer the question, like, why does that version of you, why do you need this push? Why is this push important to you? Why does that future North Star version, why does the version of Andrew, and Evans that's going to sit down with all those world leaders, why does he have to be all in during this push in 2021 in July during SC2? Why does that version of me need me to be all in during this push? And again, I'd encourage you to go beyond just money or experience or significance or recognition. That stuff's great, but what's more important? What is this push really about for you? What is this push an opportunity for you to work on an inside of yourself? The version of you that realizes their North Star, why do they need you to go through this push? Because again, the most important thing is not necessarily the attainment of the vision or the attainment of the North Star. It's who that North Star reminds you to become and show up in during the process. Okay, 3 to 4 more minutes here. Work on this, and then we're gonna do some shares. Okay. The last question is, how does that version of you respond? And what I would do is I'll give you guys a couple guidelines for that fourth question. But I would kind of journal on this push, like, what are you expecting to have happen? Right? How does that version that's attaining that North Star and vision, how would that version of you respond when you have adversity or challenge? How do you respond during adversity? When you have a great day, how do you respond? When you have an awful day, how do you respond? When you have a rude customer, how do you respond? When you hit your goal, how do you respond? When your manager is tough on you? When you fail? When it's halfway through a Sunday and you don't feel like making phone calls anymore, how does that version of you respond? One more minute, guys. One more minute. Finish filling out, journaling out all these on these questions, and we're gonna move on to some shares here. All righty. We're going to come to a close here. I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to do first is we're going to put people in breakout rooms, and you're going to be with a partner. And during this time period, maybe with a manager partner, maybe with a rep partner, but you guys are going to share a little bit, share your vision, probably for the first time, share your vision on, and just really your answers to those 5 questions. The most important one being the first one. Number 1, what is your North Star? What's your vision? What is that moment that really inspires you? And then share the following questions as well. Who would you have to become? Why is that version of you need to be all in during this push? How does that version of you respond when ... And then what's your goal for the push? What's your goal for the push? If you are the person that is listening, okay, I am going to encourage you to make sure that you are just really being open to the person that's sharing, and make sure that you're able to receive their share. So receiving that means like being a good listener, which is a skill set that you can practice during this push, by the way, with your customers as well. As like, hey, really practice active listening, like really listening to exactly what they're sharing with you. And then what you can do after that is you'll reflect back to them where you saw them come most alive. So whatever part in their story or their share that they got the most lit up or the most excited about, all your job to do as the listening partner is to reflect to them anything that like really stood out to you, and just where you saw them come most alive in their share with you. Okay, so partner share, each person has let's see here, time wise, we'll give each person 4 minutes to share your vision and some of the answers to your questions, then 1 minute to reflect back to your partner. Okay, and then we will switch up partners here as well. So I'll go ahead and create these breakout rooms real quickly. And recreate rooms. We'll do. Okay. And one of you all might be in a group of 3 here, but that is okay. So let me actually do this. I'll move this, and I'll put load into room 1. All right, we're gonna open up the rooms, and we'll get started. See you in a bit.
What just happened? You're muted, Andrew.
Yeah, I said hold on for a second here.
Okay.
Marcus, you got kicked out of the breakout room?
Yeah, somehow I got kicked out right when you switched it over.
So guys, I just walk people. Let me actually stop this.
We'll finish later.
We're gonna do that more often.
Who said that? Welcome back, everybody. How was that?
It was
Good.
great.
Short.
Let's and I gave you guys 10 minutes, but probably didn't feel like enough time. I'd love to have, we're not gonna have time for everybody. So the last thing, we might need to go like 5 or 10 minutes over, guys, just for the team draft real quickly. That's the last thing that we'll do after we do this. I want to get let's get 2, maybe 3 shares of some people. Guys, first thing I'll say is it's one thing to share it with in front of a person, but number one, this alliance group will get really close with each other. And there's a lot of power in sharing your vision with other people. There's a reason that you make a goal and you share in the group chat and we tell everybody what your goal is. Okay. Cause it's kind of like Muhammad Ali told people he was the best fighter of all time before he ever became the best fighter of all time, spoke it into existence. So, it's one thing for it to be a little thought up here. It's another thing to share it. It becomes a little more concrete and ironed out when you do that. So typically, if you're like thinking about should I share or not share, and you're like a little bit nervous and going, that's probably a good sign that you should share. Right. And the state of, hey, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you're like, oh, makes you really nervous, like don't call me, like you should probably be the person that should be sharing right now during this exercise. So I'd love to, I'll take volunteers first. Who wants to, and managers, you could do this as well, but does anyone feel compelled to share a little bit of what that North Star, that vision is for themselves, that impossible moment? Yeah. Aiden's got his hand raised, so we'll go to him first.
All right. So my North Star, pretty much, to make my own business, be my own boss that will cover my children and their children. I want my business to be known worldwide and continue even after I die, to have my children continue it, and so on and so on. Who would I have to become? Who would you have to become that person? A committed person and believing in my product. Trusting the process. Remember things will get hard, but not forget my why. Remember my why so I continue to push to my goal and overcome my goal. How could you use this push to become that person? Gives me the knowledge and good habits of business, teaching me how to sell myself and never quitting on myself, staying committed and trusting in my product, enjoying what I'm doing. How does that version of you respond? Continue to do what I'm doing, never focus on the negative, push through it and continue to reach my goal and surpass my goal. Things aren't always going to be my way, and that's life, but don't let that stop you from reaching your goal. Remember, you're trying to be the best you can possibly be. And what is my goal for this push to sell 7.5K minimum?
Awesome. So a couple of things. Thanks for, by the way, being the first person to chime in here, Aiden. And so you talked about some things I just want to echo back to you, man, that you shared is just what was inspiring about that too, was you talking about not just, a lot of it was legacy related, right? Of not just like, hey, not just like, I'm going to be a successful business owner, but like, hey, you said, I want to be successful enough with my business that, like, a couple of things you said, that like my kids and their kids, are taken care of. You're like what I'm doing now in this lifetime is not just about me, but it's about my future generations and their future generations. And then also even like, hey, the idea of like the legacy of the business, like, hey, like something that I'm going to build is going to continue to last and grow and impact people beyond my lifetime, this lifetime. And so that's a really powerful vision, man. And it might get more crystal clear as you continue to think about that. It doesn't even matter what the business is or what it is exactly, right? And by the way, it's not even about like whether or not that happens, but like that's what you want to be thinking about during your push, right? That's what you're working towards, is you're working down towards the version of Aiden that could make that dream become a reality, And so it's not, and for everybody, it's not necessarily, again, the attainment of like, whether you hit that goal or not hit that goal. It's who that goal and that vision inspires you to show up of when you're like lazy or when you're not motivated or when you're driven or whoever it is, when you're with your customers, like who is that version of you inspiring you to show up in this current moment? So let's get some snaps. And claps here to Ada. Thanks for chiming in, man. Anything else you wanted to share on that, or you feel complete?
Feel complete. Feel complete.
Awesome, man. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for being brave here and being the first person to share in the group. And I love that vision that you have here too. Who else wants to chime in or share a little bit? We'll get all right. I'll go to Alex G, one of our assistant managers here, and then we'll go to Brian in Metro Miami, and then we got to get some ladies to share here as well. So, ladies, don't worry, I'm coming for you. All right, let's go to Alex. Let me add your as a spotlight. Oh, you already are. Perfect.
Okay. So for some of you guys who were in the Alliance last year, might sound a little familiar, but my North Star hasn't changed. For a long time, I've wanted to become a financial advisor. I wanted to help educate families like my own. There's a lot of financial literacy that a lot of people don't have. So that was one of my big goals and something I want to do. So my North Star is having the ability to affect thousands of families positively and allow them to live a life that they never thought was possible. So it's not just for their lifetime. I don't obviously want them to live the life they want, but like Aiden was talking about, having that generational wealth, and my impossible situation is to help create and help hundreds of families become millionaires, generational wealth like that. That's something that like when I think about it, it's kind of scary to even like think about the possibility of doing that, but it's something that excites me. And for me, a person that I would have to become, the qualities I would need are to be unwavering. I'd need to be ambitious and committed. I'd need to be kind and understanding, steadfast, reliable. But most of all, I would need to be a respected person. And so some of the experiences rather, I would need to commit myself 100% to learning all that I can to be the best version of myself. I would need to be able to serve clients, my friends, my family, take school, take work, relationships, and my personal growth extremely seriously. Those are things I would need to do. As far as how can I become more of that person in this push, I would just need to, I would want to inspire others by the push, right? So my actions, doing what needs to be done, a lot of it isn't motivation, a lot of it is dedication. I was speaking to Hunter in our breakout room, and she had a great quote. I'm sorry if you're going to share, but I'm going to steal your quote. And she said, to be dedicated, not motivated. Okay. Motivation, you can listen to a pump up speech for 5 minutes and you could feel super motivated. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, well, I don't really have anything now. Right. So coming up, what was that?
Yeah, that disappears fast.
Yes, exactly. So coming up with a game plan, being dedicated and sticking to it, that's really what it takes. And then also I have a little quote, or rather, habits create our reality. And it's all about how you respond, right? You were talking about Muhammad Ali. I have a Mike Tyson quote: "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face," right? So adversity is going to happen. In this push, it's going to happen. I promise you that. The push is not going to be something easy as long as you take it seriously. And then as far as how do I respond? How does that version of me respond? I gave like a couple different scenarios. So good days, feeling good. I have to be able to go out and give myself to help others, be willing to go out and serve others. Servant leadership is something that's very important. Bad days, not feeling that great. Just got to refocus my mindset and just understand and know that people are counting on me. It's not just me. It's not just me holding myself accountable. It's all the other people on the Zoom. It's my family. It's my friends that are counting on me to be my best. And then ugly days, nothing going your way. You need to reframe your mindset. Okay. Not just refocus, but reframe. Things aren't happening to you, right? They're happening for you. So you just have to look at everything in a positive light. You have to find the small things and just work towards those. So that's my my journaling.
Awesome. Alex, thanks. Let's give Alex some snaps here and claps as well. Some daps. Alex, what I love about your share to me, and it's just even a similar thread of when you can get outside of yourself, of Like it is his goal, right? Alex, it's your goal. You're the one that wants to be the really successful financial advisor, be able to impact people in a powerful way, be able to make multiple, many different families, bring them up into a situation where they're millionaires. But so it is about you, but it's not about you, right? It's about, this, and that happens, guys, is it becomes like, hey, this push is about my family. This push is about the people I'm going to help in the future. This push is about developing me into the person that I need to become so that I can do those things, so that I can make those impacts. And, the question you can ask yourself even around your vision is, what happens if I don't become that version of myself? What happens, you can think about, hey, what happens if I work hard and get committed? You can also think about, hey, what happens if I don't? What happens if I don't start working towards that version of myself? What happens if I don't develop these qualities or experiences? What happens if I don't go all in during this push? Who loses? Who misses out? Who misses out on that version of Alex Gonzalez that I could have became? Who's going to lose because I didn't show up with my best effort, because I didn't fulfill my potential, because I didn't see my vision out? And you mentioned that in your share here as well, Alex. So thanks for sharing, Alex. Let's get one or two more. You don't have to for this. What I'll do, guys, is you don't need to, just because time-wise we're tight. We don't need to share the whole entire thing or like all the questions. We'll just share the vision of your goal. If you feel really called to share something else, feel free to. But let's just share the that big vision that you have for yourself, or whatever your North Star is here too. I'll get two more shares. Brian, do you want to be the next one? All right, and then we'll go to Ayana.
I need a couple more. Ready?
You're good. You're breaking up a little bit. Can we hear you?
Yeah. Could y'all hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Good. My North Star number one is to create, like I've told you and Jonathan before, it's not a real estate kingdom, but an empire. I want to be all over the United States. That whenever I pass away, my kids are gonna take that on, just continue the empire that I have built. That's my personal. Then when it comes to the community I want to do, I want to help homeless. I want to help less unfortunate neighborhoods, create opportunities for them, be able to help homeless get back on their feet, give them some type of a system so they could clean themselves out, their bodies, whatever addiction they got going on. Like a center just to help anybody that's on less unfortunate, certain more on less fortunate neighborhoods, kids that, for example, don't have support from their parents or from their families, want to help that out, create paths and opportunities for them. Also, I want to build 7 passive incomes on top of a real estate empire. And now, even creating 1 passive income is hard enough. Reality, to get 1 successful business, you're going to have to fail with 8. Now, the last but not least is breaking your own personal goal of the branch manager, 700,000. Somewhere along the next 3 years, something I want to do for myself. I look at you as a template, and it's somewhere where I want to get to.
Awesome.
And, that's about it. I could keep on if you want with the other goals.
Cool. I mean, do you feel complete?
Oh yeah, those are the 4 main ones that I got going on. And then it's just becoming.
Let me just ask you a question, Brian. So why is this push important to you? What does this push mean to you, and like what are the qualities that you're going to develop that are going to allow you to become that person?
This push is it's a commitment I'm doing to myself. It's something where at the end of this push, whether I reach my 20K goal or not, I know that I'm going to become a better version of myself. I'm going to be more disciplined, more dedicated, and I believe discipline is above all. If you don't have discipline in your life, you can't achieve anything that you have planned out for yourself. So being awake, every morning, being in the team meetings, being in the alliance meetings, helps me to create those habits. The way I look at it, it's sleep is a luxury for the poor. People who have stuff going on in their life prefer to be going out there chasing their dreams than to be sleeping by watching Netflix.
All right, man. Hey, are you cool? So you said that a lot of this push is about you developing some more discipline and habits. Are you cool with me, Jonathan, your other managers, and other people on this team encouraging you when you're doing that, and also calling you out when it doesn't seem like you're executing a lot of discipline?
I personally love when people call me out. Why? Because some people get offended when they get called out. When I get called out, it's like, okay, now I'll prove you otherwise. It's like, for me, it's motivation. Any bad energy, it's not bad energy per se, but any doubting, any advice that anybody takes, I'm going to take it and I'm going to put that into what I need to be doing.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys heard it here first. All right. Let's get some snaps and claps for Brian. Nice job sharing, man. All right. We'll do one last one. We're a little tight on time. Like I said, we're probably going to go to 10, 15 minutes over here, guys, just to set up our team competition. And then we'll wrap up with that. But I want to make sure everyone gets set up properly with their respective mini teams. And it's about to go down. I'll explain that here in just a second. Last year, though, and we'll make it quick, but I want to give Anna a chance to share here as well. So let me add you to the spotlight. Hey, Anna, what's your North Star? What's your vision right now?
So right now, my North Star is being able to sustain a good life like 10 to 20 years into the future. And the reason why I'm not that specific is because I want to do a lot of things career-wise. Like I want to have my own business. I want to maybe become an architect. And I don't think I can do that all at the same time, but it's still a vision that I really like doing. And in my family, there are a lot of people who are way older than me and they're not happy with their lives and their lives aren't really sustained. So now that I'm actually this young and I'm starting to take control of my life now, and I'm not even out of my parents' house yet, I think I'm off to a very, very good start to that type of lifestyle that I want 10 to 20 years in the future. And I don't want it to be easy. In fact, I want to be able to persevere through the hardest obstacle that I've ever had to deal with ever, because it lets me know that I'm strong enough to do it. And what qualities would I need to do to become this type of person is become committed. Like what you said earlier, motivation is not going to help you every day. We're going to have some really, really bad days. So we just have to stay committed to our purpose and dedicated. Also, the experience that I need to have is, well, okay, so I don't know if this makes any sense, but when I talk to other people, and I just like talking in general, but when I talk to others, I learn about myself through them. So it really, really helps me. And a lot of like some of the people that I've come across like on here and before, I've taken what they've said to me and I've used it in certain parts of my life as well. So it would really, really help me. And that version of me, the way they would respond like during an awful day was to first like acknowledge the negative emotions that we have, because we're all gonna have them and that's okay to acknowledge them, and because they're real and they're emotions and we're all humans and we have emotions. But the way that we respond to those emotions and how we act towards them is so much more important to them, and they're not bigger than what they need to be. So
Thank you so much for sharing, Anna. And by the way, just a few things that I wanted to echo back to you too. I love the idea of just like, hey, your vision being like having a sustainable lifestyle that you're really happy with. And that includes a lot of other things that you know you want in your life to make you happy. And I think even that sustainability piece is like key of like, hey, why it's important to show up during this push, right? Because it's not like, you're not even talking about a particular moment in time. It's like, I want to live like a life like this. And your life starts right now. Your life is happening as it's going, you know? And so you're already headed towards that journey. And there's probably obviously a lot of different things, this push included, that you're gonna be able to do to take that, you know, get closer and stay on that journey. Also that thing I like you said, it's like, hey, I want challenge, right? Which is, you gotta be careful what you wish for. Okay. But hey, it's the same like, hey, you know, if it's easy, we don't want it. Right? We don't want easy, like perfect, getting more comfortable, you know, being uncomfortable, right? So I love that that share there too. So let's give again some more snaps and claps here for Anna, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here for the day, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna probably need 10 to 15 minutes more of everybody's time here. I have calls that I'm gonna be running late to too, so I just need everyone's attention to make sure that everyone is set up coming out of this meeting here today. I had a video that I was gonna play for you all, but I'll table it. Okay, we'll come back to that video. I'll make sure it makes its way into another Alliance meeting. But, you know, maybe, by the way, for that exercise, and even if you didn't get a chance to share, I'd encourage you to share with other people and spend more time thinking about that. We're going to keep working on what that vision is, what that North Star is for yourself, what you feel like your purpose is and can be in this world, on this planet, on this earth. And that's what this push is really about. So the last few things just to table here for today, okay? Here's what's most important now coming out of this meeting, and then we're going to break off into our team. So I'd write these down into your notes here. Okay. But here's what's most important now. Number one is you need to attend the boot camps for skill development. So tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. and Friday at 8:30 a.m. Make sure that you have those in your calendar and schedule. Okay. And look, guys, there can't be more. If you can't make it to it, talk to your manager ahead of time. But outside of that, there can't be. It's 8:30 in the morning. We're about to start meeting every day at 7:30. So no excuses on those meetings for missed alarms or forgetting or missing the meetings. That's not setting probably the right tone for what's going to happen next week. And if you have trouble waking up right now, start to wean that clock back. Okay. Second thing is make sure you do a schedule a skills check with your manager. So everyone needs to make sure before Friday, you need to be drilled on your closing, your recommendations, and you're dropping down with your respective managers. So make sure you set up a time with them to do that. Second thing is getting 150 to 250 contacts on queue with tags. If you're in Miami, we have a contest tonight running, free pair of Nikes or a free $250 gift card raffled off. Every 50 names that you have on queue is an additional entry into that raffle. Some other offices might be doing some additional raffles, but you want to make sure that you're working, probably spending the rest of the day today before parents' night, working on getting those names and numbers set up. And the last thing is prepping your circles of influence for the push. Taking girlfriend out to dinner, taking, sitting down with mom and dad, like not just mentioning that you're going to be working hard, but really have a 30-minute conversation. This is one of the most powerful and important things that you can do between now and Sunday. If you want to have a successful push, you've got to make sure that your environment is supporting you. Your environment's either going to hurt your push or it's going to help your push, one or the other. So take some time to work on influencing the environment around you, because you're responsible for influencing the environment that is going to influence you. Oh, let me say that one more time. You are responsible for influencing the environment that is going to influence you. You're responsible for the environment and the circles of influence that you put yourself into. Last few things, okay, is get 3 orders on the board. Make sure you have some demos lined up coming out of tonight for the insane raffle that's going on before Saturday. And then we're going to need a little bit more communication and stats requests that's going to happen in this chat here as well as we wrap up for today. So make sure you have those things ready to rock and roll. Last 2 things is we're going to build the teams, and I'm going to have everyone set up their Zero app. Okay, so let me see real quickly here. Spartans Alliance managers. Let me see here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and do this this raffle here and do our team draft. So let's see here. If you guys go to managers, if you want to pull up the stats, the Alliance team sheet. And I'm going to make sure that all of these people are accurate on it, and we will go ahead and do this draft. Okay, so we're going to need to start off with picking some team captains. Okay, so right now we have, let's see here. I've got the list of people, and I will add this into our Alliance team draft. Office, name, goal. Okay, and I'll share my screen here. Managers, let me go ahead and share this into the chat here so we have it. And you guys have access to this sheet here as well. And let's go ahead and do this this draft. So this is the fun part. Okay. So for those of you guys that do not know, all right, first things first is go to your app store, and you're going to download this app called Zero. It's SIRO, the Zero app.
Is it Zero Coach or Zero Keep Learning?
Not the coach one. That's the one, the manager version. So just download the regular Zero app.
Okay.
Okay, to your phone. And I will forward into the chat just so you guys have it. We don't have to get it set up right now, but it's like takes maybe 2 seconds to set up. All you'll do is you'll put in our team code, which is just my first initial and last name. and then you'll go from there. So I'll send those photos into the chat. And then the next thing we're gonna do is gonna go through and delegate these teams. So here's how the team competition works. Your managers probably filled you in on this. Maybe they didn't. Okay, this is an example of the teams from last year. So we have a team contest. We're gonna split everyone up into teams, and we have a points contest. So everyone will chip in $20 into the contest. It's like a team bet. And then I'll chip in a couple $100 on top of what that is. So everyone chips in. So the pot will become, I don't know, maybe like, 30 to, so the pot will probably become about $800 to $1,000 by the time everything's said and done. And the winning team, it will just be a team of like 5 or 6 winners. We'll be able to take that pot. And last year we did like this baller dinner. Sometimes some people will do like a little mini yacht day. They'll do like, I don't know, order merch gear for the winning team, whatever that winning team wants. It's going to be their winnings to spend. Sometimes the team will just take and give me the cash. But there'll be a team contest and a team bets. Okay. It's also for bragging rights and being the reigning champs of SC2 until the next year comes around. Right. So it's going to be a good chance to get to know everyone. Here's how the point system works. Okay. Every $500 that you sell, this is each day. Whenever you sell $500 in a day, you gain a point. Okay. Every time you get 2 sponsors on a day, if you get 20 more recommendations on that day, you also gain a point for your team. Or if you book or create 4 appointments in a day, you can grade a point. So you should get points every day. There's probably not one day of the push that should go by that you're not doing one of these 3 activities. Is getting recommendations, getting appointments booked up, or making some sales. And then you also can get some extra bonus points if you complete 4, 6, or 8 demos on a day. The way you'll lose points, if you're late to a meeting, if you're more than 15 minutes late to a meeting, then you have to buy breakfast and you lose a point for your team. If you miss a meeting completely, like you don't show up at all, that's going to be -3 points for your team. Or if you miss a phone jam, like a Wednesday or a Sunday meeting during the push, that's -5 points for your team. By the way, if it's covered ahead of time, you don't lose points. This is only if it's like, hey, it was not in the schedule and then you didn't show up. If you're excused, you don't lose the points if you were excused. So any final excusals should have already been done, but you have to basically tomorrow to work out any of the logistical stuff here with your agenda. So that's the points competition and how it works. All right, we're gonna go ahead and designate points, and we're gonna do a draft here to kind of create these real quickly. So first thing we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to get our captains together. So managers, I lean towards making most of you all the captains, unless you have a strong desire to not be captain, which is okay. Someone else could from the team could step up and be a captain here as well. What's important is that you're ready to rock and roll here. So what we'll do is, let me say, let's see, does anyone, any volunteers, someone that's over 10K in career sales minimum, you need to be at 10K in career to be a team captain. But who would like to be a team captain? Captain their team. I will be communicating with the captains a little bit more, and you will have to we'll go back and forth a little bit there too. Let's start off with some team captains, and Jonathan or other branches and districts, if you guys have thoughts on captains, please help me out, because I don't know everybody on the team yet, sales wise. We want to do this fast. So I'm going to say this again, branches and districts, if you guys could help facilitate with this, since you all know your team is better than I do. And we're going to need 5 captains here to get things started. Branches and districts, you guys can also be a captain. So if you are stepping up for the push, please let me know. Or we can just keep waiting here for the next 10 minutes and make everyone continue to be here later. Let me know.
I'll be a captain.
Thank you, Andrew.
I will also be a captain.
Cool. Also, if you have any recommendations for it can be someone from your team too. Jonathan, who we want captains in Metro Miami?
Well, you said they have to be over 10K, right?
They should be over 10K, yes.
Yeah. So, Alyssa, maybe?
Jada will be a captain. Alyssa is a little kind of busy with the SMRA stuff. I don't know if I want her to be captain.
Yeah, well, I thought Jada would be busy with our whole team.
No, she should definitely be a team captain if she's an AM here, sound push. Need two more captains here. Who's over? Taylor, do you have someone from your office that could be a captain?
Ayana's at 9,950 and age is at 12.5.
Who do you think would be? Who do you want to be captain?
Ayana.
All right, Ayana, you got it. All right, we need one more captain. Van Troy, you want to be a captain?
Sure, why not?
I don't sound like say it. You sure you want to be captain?
Well, I just haven't hit the 10K yet, but I'll be willing to step up if I need to.
Android, do it.
Hit mine, Andrew's office, so it's gonna give you an opportunity here too. Or we can do. We could probably have one more from Metro. Brian, you want to be captain? You down? All right. Get some record-breaking branch manager here experience. All right. So, all right, we got some captains set up. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do the draft. So we'll go. I'm gonna go just left to right, probably in order here, and we'll need to pick someone for each team. So we'll just call this the name. You're gonna change the team names here in a second, but we'll just have this to start. So it'll just be these teams will be the names of the teams until you guys get together as a group and form your own team name. So we'll start off. And we'll go down the list. And managers, make sure that there's anyone taken off on this. Like Jonathan, do we need to take off like Lucas or I think he's the only one on here too. Or is he good? Do we leave him on here for a team? No. Okay. All right. Jonathan's not here. We're just going to keep going on. So let's see real quickly. Start off, Andrew, you got the first pick. Who do you want? Chloe, get your goal up there if you can too, please. I shared this into the group chat.
I'm getting Van Troy.
All right, Van Troy it is. Let me make sure that this is, sorry. All right. Sorry, Van Troy, you're good. Nick, who do you want on your team? Dana.
I know. I'm thinking. Give me a second. Let's do Ethan. Give me my AM.
All right, Ethan's done. Jada, who do you want on your team?
Morgan.
I just got hit with a shot.
All right. Ayana. Who you want?
Asia.
You said, where is she? Asia?
Yeah.
All right. Brian, who do you want?
They took my man Morgan, so let me get Alyssa.
So what?
Alyssa down right there.
All right. Boom. All right, Brian, you get one more pick. Who do you want? Snake.
Let me see. Let me get Ariel.
Ariel?
Yeah.
Boom. All right. Ayana, back to you.
Ayana, like Ayana.
Is that
like yawn? Yeah. Ayana. Okay.
Ayana? Oh, it's Ayana, not Ayana.
Yeah, Ayana, yeah. I could let's do Aiden.
All right. Bada bing, bada boom. Jada, back to you.
I'll take Jasmine.
All right. Jasmine, boom. All right. And Jada, by the way, if you heard that question, I was trying to ask Jonathan if you could maybe send a message and get some clarity from him. All right. Next one, Jada, you went. Nick, you got to pick.
Logan.
Logan, where's Logan? All right. Andrew, back to you.
I'll take Jake.
Where is that?
Mine
Jake. All right. Jake Leifler. All right, Andrew, you got one more pick.
I'll take Garrett.
Garrett. All right. Boom. Nick, your pick.
I'll take Grant.
All right, Jada, your pick. Jada.
I know, I'm looking. Let's let's do Hunter?
Hey.
Is that how you pronounce that? Hunter?
Two.
It's pronounced Hunter.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't know if I mispronounced that. Yeah,
Okay.
Hunter, let's go.
All right, Hunter it is. All right, Ayana, you're up.
I'll take Vanessa. Is that his name? Vanessa.
Anissa.
I'm blind. Where are we?
It's
Number 13.
under, yeah. You just passed it.
Oh. All right, perfect. Brian, you got 2 picks.
Let me get Tyler for number 1.
Tyler, tell me.
Who's still available?
And then who's the next one?
Let me see. Aiden is taken, right?
Yeah, you guys might want to.
Yes.
Some of you guys are really so poor at picking teams. Some of the branch managers and district managers haven't picked yet. You guys might want to pick the people.
We could pick
I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, you can. I mean, they're gonna be on the team.
Jonathan's
not. This is not on the team. And only the people that are on this list.
Okay, then.
We are sorry.
Rookie move.
Brian, pick Juliana.
Juliana.
Juliana,
Tyler, you're cheating.
Are we sure that we want?
Let me just double see real quick. Let me see the ghost.
3, 2, 1.
Hold on. Let me get 5 seconds. Let me see the names though. Let me go with Juliana. It doesn't even matter. We're gonna go.
Juliana. Oh my god.
All right, you've been picked for you. All right, Juliana. Anna, you're next.
Let's do Marcus. And can I just go ahead and pick the other one?
Not yet.
Okay.
Marcus, where's Marcus go?
Just out of curiosity, who was your second pick?
It's right under my name.
There you go. All right. And then Jada, back to you. Jada, you there?
I'm speaking, but I was on mute. I'll take
Next.
Daniel. Actually, can I have Chloe?
Sure. All right, Nick, who you want? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people left.
Brian's not available. Top one's not available. He's a team captain. Give me Diamond.
All right. DeAndre?
Bautista.
Where would you begin? All right, and then we now have how many people left? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Diana's a captain.
Who is? No, Ayana's a captain. All right, let me put her here. All right. Does anyone that wants to go right now? There might be a couple people that aren't on this list that get added to a team. Does anyone have any strong preference out of these 4? I'll let you guys kind of go in any order right now if anyone has a strong preference and wants one of these people on this list.
I'll take Lucas.
Damn.
Oh man.
Damn.
Come on.
Take
I'll
who?
take Susan.
Lucas Baez?
I'll take Daniel.
Wait, Aeon, did you say Lucas?
Yes, I did.
I was in.
Whoever's left.
You can also forego your pick and then we can figure it out later. All right, Nick, Jada, Brian.
I'd take Susan.
Lucas is unavailable, right?
This Lucas? Yeah, he's gone now.
So I have to switch it out, or is it still?
You got him.
Oh, okay.
I trade you.
Okay, we might have some opportunities for some trades during the push, but as of now, did someone grab Daniel? Yeah, someone did grab Daniel Andrew. And then Christine, come on. Jada or Brian, you have any strong preferences?
I'll take it.
I don't think there's anybody left to take.
All right, Brian, you're the 5-man team until you guys get a 6th person. There's probably someone else to add, but we'll make sure all the teams are even in terms of quantity of people. So there might be some shifts, but for the most part, this is going to be the team direction here too. By the way, I might change the co-captain, things like that too. But for right now, we've got this set up here. Okay, so I just sent it into the group chat, the team captain's approvals. So again, coming out of this, I will send a final reminder. I'll let people hop off that need to. But what's going to need to happen is if you're a team captain right now, you're going to be in charge of doing this before the end of the day. You need to have a little huddle with your team. I would recommend just doing it with everyone right now while you're on Zoom and creating a little group chat real quickly with your teams and the people on WhatsApp. So start there, just create a WhatsApp with your team. And here's what each team is going to need to make. Okay. You're going to need to go to, there's a team management folder, and you're each going to make a document that looks something like this. You can use this as the template. And this is just an example of a team from last year called Slice Baby. And they made their own logo and everything like that too. But you're going to want to make a group chat, and you're going to share kind of your what, why, how, and your mantra for your team. So this is the template. I'll actually edit just the template here for a quick second. But you're going to want to get with your team and kind of figure this stuff out. So this is an example, but you'll have a team name, a little chant, your team song, and then submit to me in text writing what you want your logo to be, because I'll have a logo created for each of you all for your specific alliance team as we go into the push. So that will do by for the end of the day. Feel free to talk to some of the other team captains from last year if you need some direction, help, and support. And then just make sure we're executing on what's important now. Everybody else, have a beautiful day. Let's keep working on names and numbers before we come to tonight. And we'll chat with y'all soon.
Are you gonna send the